rise and shine. Welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Abuja coming to you from the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja. My name is Neka Igwe. Well, you do know that what you do first thing in the morning, your first feelings, your first activities for the day has a way of influencing your mood and productivity for the rest of the day. And yes, you made the right decision starting your morning with us. You will be informed, you will be educated, you will be motivated, you'll be entertained, and what more, it is the Friday edition. So buckle up and get ready for a fascinating time. Coach Yanabo Miebaka is standing by with the morning motivation.
Hi and good morning. My name is Mia Baka, and as usual, I'm here to share with you some tips to ensure that you live your life to the fullest. I'm going to be sharing with us briefly this morning on the need for a mid-year review session. A man called Peter Drucker said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And so I'm saying to you, it's time to sit down with yourself as we are in the middle of the year. Call yourself to a meeting, get a notebook, get a piece, your biro, and just sit down with yourself in a quiet space and do a review of your year so far from January till date. When you do a review, it helps you do a very critical assessment of your progress so far. And then from those same goals, I want you to pick out a few more things that were not accomplished, write them out afresh again. You might have some you had accomplished, tick off those ones. And then say, are there one or two you might want to add to so that you have a clear focus for the remaining months from after July, August, September, October, November, December. It helps to give you clarity. It helps you spur you on. It helps you to analyze areas you didn't do so well, and also might show you areas where you might need help to make better progress. So please don't forget, before today ends, ensure that you sit down with yourself and you do a good review of your year so far. After that, reframe your goals for the remaining part of the year and ensure that when you need help, you find help. A coach, a counselor, a teacher, whoever it is that you need to help you accomplish what is left by the end of the year. Ensure you get help. But I know that once you do this, you end 2025 happy with yourself and excited at the goals you've been able to accomplish.
Thank you very much, Coach Miebaka. And we are off to our general body exercise corner. It's always healthy to keep fit, so get up and let's go. Welcome back, and yes, a moving body is a very healthy and productive body. Did you join in that exercise? All right, up next we will bring you quotes on life, quotes to get you thinking clear for the day. have our quotes and words on marble. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will dive into the nitty gritty of what we have in store for you today. Stay with us.
It's time for us to say our goodbyes on the program. As usual, I remain your host of the most, Omoide with Erese, and I'll always be here with my bestie.
Je m'appelle Oguntayo Olamipasi Justina.
Speaking French now, from Jordan to Sweden.
Adios.
Thank you for staying with us. It is still Good Morning Abuja. I mean, what is a beautiful economy? What is a beautiful life if we don't talk safety first? I think safety first should always be something that we'll never ever cease to talk about. And no, we can never overemphasize the need to learn and relearn strategies and measures of, always ensuring safety first. So my guest is going to help me x-ray this very all-important topic. Let's meet and greet Engineer Zacchaeus Adebayo. He is the controller FCT Fire Service. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you
It's nice
for
to
having
have
me.
you on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
So let's take a look at some of the strategies for conducting fire assessments, and identifying potential hazards in the first place.
Okay, thank you so much. When we talk about fire risk assessment of a structure or a premises, we are talking about the system design to identify probable hazard within that premises, to identify the people that can be exposed, the vulnerable people, to that hazard. And what can we do to mitigate, to reduce, to prevent hazard, the effects of hazard on these vulnerable people? Then we carry out how people can be evacuated from that premises if
In the case.
in the case of emergency. Those are what are involved when we talk about a risk assessment of a premises.
Okay. Tell me, as an organization, what are some of the measures you take to make sure that you adequately inform the people, populace out there, on fire prevention and safety?
Thank you. When we talk about risk assessment, we have 5 pillars that uphold fire risk assessment. Number 1 is prevention, as we mentioned. Prevention, then mitigation. We have response, we have preparedness, we have recovery. All these are geared towards safety of life and protection of property. And what we do to ensure that people are carried along in safety of their lives and protection of their property is we create desperate awareness. We carry out, as we are doing now, we are doing fire prevention. We are creating awareness. We go to nook and corners of communities to sensitize people on what to do in case emergency strikes. Those are the elements that are involved in letting people know. Then we also establish what we call mass emergency warning. That is, you let people know that so hazards are identified at a particular place and how people can be evacuated when such a risk is about to
Of
occur. So those are all the activities geared uh, towards
towards
the
sensitization.
sensitization of people in that community.
Let's talk about fire codes and regulations. Do you think Nigerians pay enough attention to these things? Do you think
Thank
they
you.
take safety enough?
Okay, when we talk about fire code or fire safety code,
Mm.
these are set of regulations that are adopted by each country to save the lives, to save
Property.
the property. Then when we come to Nigeria, okay, this code can be domesticated. How? When we talk about fire safety code now, we can encoded it in our building regulations, structural, environmental, also regulations. They can be embedded in such regulations to ensure that lives are safe. And each state supposed to domesticate these rules and regulations geared towards safety of the lives of the residents and their property. So when we come to Nigeria, you know, human beings are difficult to deal with, especially in Nigeria. But we always try our possible best to ensure that we carry out our responsibility. So people are adamant. You have to talk, you have to emphasize, you have to do this.
And start it all over again.
Domesticate it in each of the states and let people know that these are rules and regulations to follow. When you want to build a structure, you have to involve so professionals.
Emergency exit and all of that.
You have to involve this professional to provide their minimum requirement, as mentioned, number of exits that must be present inside that structure. The safety equipment that must be installed. Then the number of the quality of material that must be used to ensure that that structure even stands. And when we do this, we ensure that we monitor the construction of the structure. After construction, we also monitor when it is being put to operation, that is operational use of that structure. We also monitor that people don't violate the rules and regulations. People comply with safety rules and safety measures. Thank you.
Let's talk about rapid response plans and procedures. What do you essentially do? What do you do differently to make sure you put an effective rapid response procedure, in place all the time?
Yes, thank you. When we talk about a rapid response or prompt response, we all have responsibilities to play. Both the individual, the response agencies, we all have our roles to play. Number one, the residents, we must have the contact of emergency responder within that community, both the fire service, road safety, FEMA, civil defense, police, and so on. We must have the emergency contact of such organizations. That is one. Then, in the part of government, the political will must be on ground to attend to the urgent need of the residents of such communities, as the science and technological progress are made here and there. We also must carry out training and retraining of these emergency responders to brief themselves with the quality, with the requirements that this emergency requires to mitigate them. Then, as you said, what is the FCT, what are they doing? What is FCT doing to ensure that there is proper prompt emergency response? We have what we call FCT Fire Emergency Monitoring Gateway, which is a project that was established the year 2024 to ensure that we provide, number one, toll-free line to all the residents of FCT. So there's no reason why somebody will say he doesn't have credit, and so that's why I cannot call. So it is toll-free line. I will call it when the time comes. Then we have what is called fire routers, which if a structure installed this, when this router is installed in a structure, it can connect the smoke detectors inside that structure to our control room in fire service. Then we have SOS button that we put inside all the structures, inside all the control rooms, bank, filling stations, market, everywhere.
In the case of an outbreak.
In case of fire outbreak, you cannot get the contact immediately. Just go to that SOS button. Once you press it, you are good to go. The location, the address of that structure where the emergency occurs will be shown on our dashboard, and the nearest fire station will be mobilized immediately to attend to such a need. So that's what we are doing. Number two, we carry out fire awareness campaign in all the districts. The Honorable Minister, FCT, is doing his possible best to ensure that lives are saved, properties are protected in FCT. He has given us this assignment that we must reach out to all the nooks and corners to sensitize all the people, and our response time must not be more than 5 minutes. So if you watch now, you will see that you will notice that the Honorable Minister is clearing all the roads, is making every nook and corner to be accessible. That is number one challenges of the challenges that we normally have to access a premises when there is emergency. But you know that we can have free access to
and get there in the shortest possible time.
All structures. So all the residents, marketers, shopping mall must also assist the Honorable Minister to ensure that these access roads are not blocked by makeshift shop, goods, or any structure whatsoever. So these are what we are doing in FCT Fire Service, in FCT, to ensure that our emergency response are prompt. Thank you.
That's awesome. Now let's talk about today's technological advancement. There are, new and sophisticated firefighting gadgets. What's your take on that? And are we keen in?
Thank you so much. I will speak generally on this, not only FCT, but generally within the 36 states.
As we wrap up.
Okay, now our response to this technological advancement are low.
We can do better.
We will see that the challenges of fire safety management in many states of Nigeria are many. No enough fire stations, no enough modern firefighting equipment, no enough personnel. The trainings are not there. So our response are at low level. The political will is not there. You will see that fire services are still using vehicles that are 40 years old, and these vehicles are not even enough. You see that fire personnel are not allowed to go to international overseas training, even local training. They are difficult to even access. So all this make the efforts to be on the low level. Thank you.
Well, we do hope that things are going to keep. I think Nigerians are beginning to curb a lot of fire disasters, and we hope it will keep
Yes,
getting
of
better
course, we
and
are doing
better.
ourselves.
Yes.
Even with this uh, old vehicles, if you see our firemen on the fire scene, they fight fire with all compassions. They're fighting with. In fact, our firemen are trying in
Thank you
Nigeria.
so much for coming, sir, and educating us, and keep up with the good work.
Thank you.
Whether you have it, we continue to all do our best, give our best from wherever you are. Everybody has a role to play in this. And this is exactly what we are also doing right here on Good Morning Abuja. Let's take a short break and the beautiful talk show will continue.
Eyes for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of
Assalamu
paradise.
alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to your weekly guide, Light of Islam. I am Aisha Ahmed.
As Muslims, we know that in Islam, time is a very good and important commodity that we have.
Believe in the angels of God as one of the 6 articles of faith.
Dharma is a form rules, and how the rules are made is such that the Imam stands in front and then right behind him.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Light of Islam. Keep watching Light of Islam.
Za is for zakah, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need.
I welcome you on today's ride on the show Good Morning Abuja.
This is Window on Abuja.
We have everything it takes to compete with any nation all across the world.
How do we make it? We are ready to produce.
I've been contributing to the development of your kingdom.
Hello and welcome to Young Hearts.
Our focus today will be on hepatitis B.
Ladylike!
This is Entertainment Gist.
In the 14th century, 15th, 16th century, and even 17th.
That is for zakah, to cure our greed.
The purpose why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to create humanity.
The Bible talks about a man called Apollos. This is NTA Abuja Channel 5.
See you same time.
And have a great and blessed week ahead.
It's so good to know that you are still with us this morning. Well, the world recently marked the International Day for Youth Skills and Vocational Training worldwide. And this is a day set aside to throw more light on all of the ingenuity and talents that youth can come with and, be able to contribute meaningfully to world economies around the world. Yes, so my next guest is going to help me x-ray matters arising on this year's celebration. Let's meet my guest, Mrs. Nneka Acholono Ebuna. She is the co-founder Let's Help Humanitarian Foundation, and she has over 20 years experience spanning across the private sector, NGOs, and of course the United Nations. Good morning.
Good morning, dear.
It's so nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So recently it was actually the 10th anniversary, of the United Nations celebrating, the world vocational and technical skills training for youths across the world. And it's such a short one, really, just 10 years. Let's start by you letting me know how you think that all of this can help to, bring what the youths can do better for world economies.
Yes. Once again, thank you very much for having me. Yes. The youths, they are the wealth of every nation. So investing in their capacities and their skills has a long way in promoting any nation's economy. So that's why I think a day like this, World Youth Skills Day, is very important to be celebrated, to also commemorate the relevance of youth in every society regarding the skills and all the positive energies they bring to development.
Taking a look at today's dynamics, what specific skills, in your opinion, would you think that governments around the world should pay more attention to, talking about youth vocational training?
Okay, I'd like to limit it to Nigeria. Of course, various countries have various needs and then find various ways to address them. But limiting it to Nigeria, I would suggest that Nigerians look into the skills that are needed at the moment. For instance, we have a diversity of cultures, a diversity of ethnicities, and 36 states plus Abuja. So in each of these states, they have core needs that need to be addressed. And if the youth are trained in the skills that address and meet those needs, it will help them to be employed, and it will drastically reduce employment, while also looking at the global scene and looking at how Nigeria fits into the big picture and what solutions we have to address global challenges. So that's what they say that's what they mean when people say think globally but act locally. So charity begins at home. You have to find solutions for Nigeria's problems first of all before going out there to see how we can solve the global problems. That's the way I look at it.
I'm happy to observe that our education system now step it down to even the primary school, kid. They now teach them pre-vocational studies and all of that in primary schools. And parents even clamor that their young children should go learn a skill, or one skill or the other, for long vacations and all of that. How do you think, you are an expert in youth empowerment, how do you think we can best design these programs?
So the programs cannot be designed, excuse me, in isolation. Educational institutes or vocational education training institutes need to collaborate with private sector. They also need to collaborate with the government, and then the people, the regular man on the road, to be able to design these programs so that when they are designed, they are fit for purpose, and then they are addressing future needs. So that we won't be playing catch up. We will be also ahead of the times, because as you're learning a specific skill, new skills are evolving, new things, new approaches. So as we are catching up now from where we are coming from, of course, a lot of people have criticized our educational system as being very theoretical, and it needs to be more practical. But then again, a lot of schools have observed this, and they are integrating it into their programs. They're even integrating it into NYSC. Of course, when I was a copper, I realized that, oh my God, a whole 3 weeks of orientation, what am I even doing? I need to learn some skills. So definitely they gave us some skills to learn, but many of them were not entrepreneurial skills. So now since 2012, it has been integrated into the NYSC program, and young people are able to learn some skills, get mentoring, and sometimes financial support to scale up their startups. So yeah, it's a good idea that from primary to secondary and tertiary, these skills are being integrated into our learning, making our learning more practical and then fit for purpose.
I'm glad you mentioned the entrepreneurial part of things. How is it viable enough? How important are these trainings in the life of the youth in the first place? Is it something they can actually make living from?
Yes, these trainings are very important because, like I said, you don't just have a training institute. But when we say training institute, I don't want it to look abstract. First of all, we have maybe some pub activities that are part of the training in the schools. We have polytechnics, we have colleges of education. These are some of the TVETs, that is training and technical and vocational education and training institutes. But how do we make the training relevant to what the youth need to be able to be employable? That is by involving education institutes need to now partner with the private sector, those who are going to be their future employers. So if in a particular state, the trend there is probably carpentry, those youths need to be trained in the best ways of doing, maybe is it carpentry, is it tiling work, but it has to be really, really situated to the needs and the natural resources of those states and areas where they come from. So that it's not you import something from Lagos because, let's say, for instance, Lagos has a very unique way of doing things and you want to import it to your own state without checking what are the real needs of my state, what are the people saying. So that's why you really need to do some analysis, some research with the young people who are involved, including those who are maybe in the minority, who are very distant, who are living in rural areas, women, persons with disability. Involve everybody together and find out from a study what are the needs, the gaps that they have. Then you also do your research with the companies, the industries, what are the needs, so that you merge the two and you're able to develop a curriculum that will address the needs of the day. And that is also including the educational system. The educational system, like I said before, is quite theoretical. So if they have to adapt to changing times, it will become a more practical curriculum that people will use and know that, okay, they are not addressing archaic ways of doing things, but they are looking forward to the future and modern ways of learning.
Let me make a case for the girls, the youth, the female youth. People tend to look at them like, oh, you should just go be a secretary somewhere. You know, they don't see females as technical people, you know, but you have been in the field for a very long time. Do you think it's equally an area or field where female girls, female children are also able to thrive?
Yes, technical and vocational education institutions provide the opportunity for most people who cannot afford the main formal education to thrive. So they are mostly not too expensive, they are quite affordable, and it's like a lower hanging fruit that enables you to be skilled while also taking your studies. For girls, yes, a lot of awareness needs to be given to them because many people, especially those in rural areas, they feel timid and sometimes intimidated, and they will feel like, oh, it's not my thing, it's for men, it's for boys, and they're excluded. So if they are encouraged to understand that this is your means of livelihood, something that will help you to become financially independent tomorrow, even if it's empowering the opposite sex, you too cannot equally benefit from it. And by then, we also reduce poverty. So technical and vocational education systems are known to be quite affordable. And sometimes the programs are not so lengthy. So you grab what you can, get your certification, and those certifications have to be aligned with what is relevant in the country or the country's needs, and then you scale from there.
Over the years, I've seen so many governments and individuals, well-spirited individuals and NGOs embark on, you know, skill acquisition training for young people. You know, but at the end of the day, do you think we have enough structure to actually follow it through and see that these youths that have been trained actually become gainfully employed and begin to bridge that poverty gap? Do you think the structure is strong enough?
Well, the structure is there. However, there needs to be more, there needs to be a strengthening of efforts in the collaboration between the government, the educational systems, the private sector, and the person on the road, because these skills have to be fit for purpose. They have to be sensitized. The public has to be sensitized about what the government is doing, what opportunities are out there, and the policies, the regulatory frameworks. Government already has some regulatory frameworks that are providing the enabling environment for young people to participate in these skills and these trainings. However, many of them do not know about it. And when they get all these skills and they don't get gainfully employed, it becomes difficult for them. And it's like, oh my God, I have this skill, I know where to go, but I cannot apply it. Let's also bear in mind that with the advent of AI now, artificial intelligence, it's replacing the jobs of many young people. If you ask them, they will tell you, those in school who are preparing to meet the labor force, they will tell you, AI is replacing my work, or what am I going to do? So that's another challenge. The initial challenge we had was that, oh, millions of graduates are coming out there, we're trying out millions of graduates, no one is employing them. Now you're giving them all the skills. You're giving them the skills that they need. But then AI is taking over their roles. So that is one. Then we're not providing enough sensitization, enough capacity strengthening. We're providing capacity strengthening, but we're not providing enough sensitization so that young people will know what is available out there. Recently, the Ministry of Education also launched a portal to train young persons. But then I do not know how many people know about it. It's free.
Virtually.
It's virtual, and I think it also has a physical setting, a physical compound where you can actually do the training. But the registration is online. They opened it in May. So, but they need to talk about it. They need to spread more awareness about it, and states need to adapt to that. So we have this challenge of we're already training the youths. The TVET centers are there, but then unemployment is there. However, when the organizations who are there and the training is here, then artificial intelligence is right in the middle, taking over their places. We still run into a problem. So that is why we have to keep adjusting our educational systems to meet the needs of today, so that young people can think of problem solvers. I'm not just, okay, I'm there to take this job, but then what other additional value are you there to provide? Because things are changing so quickly, and we need to adapt and adjust to the changing times.
All right, we'll take a short break at this point, but don't go anywhere. There is still a whole lot more insight when we come back.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon each and every one of us. It's another fantastic Friday evening, and you're welcome to NTA Channel 5 Abuja.
First of all, you train yourself, you educate yourself, then you educate your family, and then the community at large.
Fundamentals of Islam Live, showing 7:30 p.m. every Friday on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. Join us.
Us to say our goodbyes on the program. As usual, I remain your host the most, Omar with Erese, and I'll always be here with my bestie.
Je m'appelle Oguntayo Olamposi Justina.
Speaking French now, from Jordan to Sweden.
Adios.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Our discussion is still dwelling on, the importance of giving youths technical and vocational training with more emphasis on using artificial intelligence. Speaking of which, the advent of AI, Google search, and all of this, I think it has this tendency to already make a young person, believe that they can just go online and look at these things and browse on it for 5-10 minutes, and they're already expert. What do you think this can do if we don't uphold standards and acceptable practices?
Yes, standard and acceptable practices are very important, especially nowadays with the proliferation of AI. If the young people are not really taught and made to understand that they really need to do thorough research before just relying on anything they see online, maybe coming from Google search or AI, they will not know the difference. It's very important for them to know the difference. Why? Because there's a lot of fake information or fake news online. A lot of young people just copy and paste what they see when they search in any of the AI apps on a particular research topic, and they submit it, not knowing that it's easy to tell most of the time what you've picked up from AI, which is just copy and paste. So if you don't want to run the risk of plagiarism, originality, fake news, you really need to do some research, and young people really need to be told and taught and made to understand that the fastest way out is not always the only way out or the best way out. So they really need to learn they really need to be taught about ethical AI, so that they can run away from the implications of just trusting the stories as they see it. Because like I said, there's so much disinformation there is fake news, and they also run the risk of copyright or plagiarism issues. So they don't need to. They can look at AI as a summary, the information they get from the AI apps as a summary of what they are looking for. But then when you look at each of those paragraphs, because they break the information in paragraphs, you find links to the actual story you are looking for. So it's worth the time to click those links and actually read up and not be in a hurry to just grab and go, because you may grab and go and submit or share with others, and someone may call you and say, that's my material that you just put out there in public as your own.
Yeah, I think that will be one of the challenges we're looking at. Let's check one or two other areas you think can pose a challenge in the way of we as a nation trying to empower our youths with enough skill and vocational training.
Okay, one of the challenges is that, just like I said, AI is, like I said before, artificial intelligence, machines are replacing some physical or practical work that we are doing. So that's why we really need to be ahead of the curve, ahead of trends, and observe what others are doing and be able to catch up or be ahead, so that we don't run the risk of losing our staff capacity, for instance, when it comes to routine work that AI is already doing. So people should now scale up, and on their own, they can just research which jobs make me relevant in today's economy, in today's, in the future, really. So you can now research it and find out, okay, I am a nurse, am I safe? So you find out what makes you safe or what doesn't make you safe. I am a secretary. Am I safe? Is my job going to be replaced? So you find out those routine tasks you are doing that AI will take over, and tomorrow they will not employ you, and then look for what else you can do or add to what you're already doing to make you more relevant and more fit for purpose. Of course, artificial intelligence is an advantage that we also need to learn how to work with to be able to do our work better. It's not really going to replace us per se, but it can aid our work. And it's by us taking the time to study more about the future of technology to be able to be at par and at rest, really, with the coming of AI. I'm just going to call it the coming of AI because it's like an emerging issue right now. In years to come,
and it's here to stay.
It's here to stay. In years to come, we'll be like, oh, some years ago, a few years ago, we were scared that AI was going to take our work. And that's what happened when computers were introduced to the world.
Yes.
Same
Finally,
thing.
before we go, as your advice, what would you advise the young people out there in a world where everybody is expected to multitask these days?
Well, it's not easy to advise because they know how to multitask on their phone or their devices, just do one or two things or so many things at the same time. But however, my advice I will give is to really learn the ethics of using these technological, all these applications, or the technology, the digital information and all that. We should learn the ethics. We should just know how to do things the right way and not always be in a hurry to post or in a hurry to copy and paste. That's the advice I'm going to give them.
All right, thank you so much for coming and educating us today. I've been speaking with Mrs. Nneka Acholonu Imuna. She's the co-founder Let's Help Humanitarian Foundation. And I hope you found her submissions very, very educating. It's still Good Morning Abuja on the Unity Station. Another short break and we will be right back.
Good evening. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
We celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
Jama'a barkanmu da wannan
The Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
Welcome back. Well, what's a Friday show without some comedy? Up next is Compound Matter with a healthy dose of weekend laughter. Let's take a look.
since I love you. And you know that what man like me, I go to door for where woman dey. True.
Landlord there with somebody inside. Wait. Landlord there with somebody inside. Who be this person? But I know they hear the voice of the lady. No, they call. Which will be this person? I don't do anything. And nobody did this cup handle. I just greet landlady when she dey go shop just now. So landlord get mind bring another woman come this house, abi? What I need to go call landlady. I know a shop now. Why? I'll go call landlady. You will see.
Anything.
My sister. I thought she was waiting me. Wow. That's enough. I say you go back. Say this JJ. Babe, rascal. I tell you this, nothing. Why did you come to my husband inside house? Nothing they happen. Nothing for where you this man.
Wait, nah.
You don't the eye my husband sis.
No. Now Betty coach, you can't give me. Betty coach
that bring come on. Nothing they happen. Officer.
Now code though, Betty code.
Officer, beg.
Wow.
Look me like that. Why you look me like that? You can't do anything.
Now Betty code.
I don't do anything. Now code I can't give Oga.
Now Betty code.
Now they inside there.
Now coach you can't give nothing.
I can't give him. See officer. Sorry, man, please excuse me. What is happening in this compound again?
Now Betty code. You can't give me.
What is happening? I don't tire. Okay, now because of me, you can't let us for this place. Officer, what is happening in this compound?
Officer, I will explain. She came to my house to give me code.
Which code?
Betting code.
Simple.
There's one
landlord. You're a liar. Shut up your mouth. Landlord, I hear something. No, I hear pinch my ear. I hear something. I said quiet.
Anything you hear na code.
Who is constituting a nuisance in this compound? Nobody. See her here. No, wait, I don't understand. You want to arrest my sister?
Well, lady, no.
I will change her because of your sister. You want to arrest my sister? Hello. I will change her for you. That's what you did. I don't understand.
Now you get
so you be the landlord. Last time you be the my husband.
Alright, welcome back from Compound Matter and their new tenant Wahala. Well, what is a weekend if you don't settle in front of your television and catch some quality time watching good movies with family and friends? Take a look at our lineup of movies for the weekend.
Happy anniversary, my love.
But how do you measure time when every moment with you feels like a gift of eternity?
You have just been nominated for a special gala next month for men who have not only succeeded in life but have their name in the sound of time and humanity.
It's my own way of saying thank you. You've made my life worth living.
What type of sacrifice am I expected to make?
You will call your wife's name 3 times and strike without compassion.
I can't stay in that house anymore.
Why?
Amaka told me that she has something to tell me. You don't get it.
Hey! It is finished.
We all like going back in time and imagining how things could have gone differently. Like, what if I made different choices? Would I have ended up here?
It's been 6 months and still no leads on the whereabouts of the escaped convict known as the Roof Man.
I was never very good at life.
Good morning, team.
No, don't be scared. Kind of like I was not good at hurting people.
Dwayne, get your coat.
I don't have one.
Are you serious?
Here. I was good at seeing things. Details. Systems and routines.
A manhunt tonight for an escaped prisoner.
find a safe place to hide for a few months.
He's a very smart individual, super intelligent.
You're just the man I want to see.
You like peanut M&M's, right?
'Cause we're missing a lot. You have any idea why?
I just thought, they gotta be hiding somewhere.
I wanted to invite you to my toy drive.
We sell toys here, we don't give them away.
Wow.
I would like to introduce you to someone who made a generous toy donation.
That's so kind of you.
So, John, I understand you work for the government.
So it's a little classified, so.
I never knew we had an intelligence unit here in Charlotte.
Oh, are you law enforcement?
Yes, I am.
Wow, that's amazing.
Police believe the roof man may still be in the area.
What the? Oh my God!
You got your passport? You got to leave tonight. And can I just stay? Oh, how? I'll just lay low. I need you to really think about who you talk to. You just look like this all the time?
Tell me what's going on. Right now.
Who do you want to be, Jeff?
We are gathered here today to say goodbye to Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots, you are down to your last life. You need to retire.
Oh, brother cats, sister kitties, meet your new roommate.
Well, I'm supposed to be a fearless hero, a legend.
This is a person party. That's your party.
So this is where dignity goes to die.
The years start coming and they don't stop coming. Your Puss in Boots? Let's talk.
All right, let's get it over with.
Let's get it!
Without life to spare, I am nothing.
When you only have one life, that's what makes it special. Go get him, Tiger. Hey!
Take it easy. This is gonna be fun.
What's company?
I am Puss in Boots. The wishing star is in the dark forest. We step through as one. Ready? 1, 2, after you.
Wait, what?
Dog? Still alive?
Let's go find out.
There you have them, our movies for the weekend. You know I'm a lover of animation, so it's going to be Puss in Boots for me. I've seen the part 1 and 2, and now I have a perfect opportunity to go see the part 3 of it. Up next is our weather forecast. Let's take a rain check. It's been raining heavily in Abuja lately. Let's bring you the weather report. The weather report there, and that wraps it up on today's episode of Good Morning Abuja. I had an exciting time. If you missed it, if you missed a little bit of it, not to worry, we will be back on Monday bright and early with another brand new edition of the show. Just keep it up with us on the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja. Well, you know that sometimes life cannot be perfect, but every day has something special about it, you know, to make you see some beauty in it if you look in the right directions. My name is Neka. You will have yourself a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you again very, very soon.
another fantastic Friday evening. And you're welcome to NTA, Channel 5, Abuja.
First of all, you train yourself, you educate yourself, then you educate your family, and then the community at large.
Fundamentals of Islam Live, showing 7:30 p.m. every Friday on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. Join us.
So you know that this thing I'm wearing is like it's not good. So that's the culture that we have, and that's the culture that we should be able to uphold. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong in looking beautiful.
Remember, our dressing is the reflection of our society, our values, beliefs, and attitude. It is clear that the way a person dresses can affect how successful he or she can be. So, put more effort into your wardrobe so as to improve the reception you receive. Looking good is not only being presentable, but also being comfortable in what you are wearing.
Meal planning pretty much entails a list of meals that you eat over a certain period of time. So in most times it could be over a week. Take for instance, from Monday to Friday, you have a list of certain foods allocated to certain times, so morning, afternoon, evening, or depending on how much the person eats. Yes.
As for me, before going to the market, I'll need to make a list.
President Tinubu leads special facts session, renames University of Maiduguri in honor of Buhari.
Nigeria demands fair, sustainable investment, Alake tells global mining stakeholders.
Civil service moves toward full digital transition with paperless policy by year end.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on the Special Executive Council meeting in honor of the late Muhammadu Buhari and his enduring legacy.
Nigeria's former president, Muhammadu Buhari, was a soldier. Some say a soldier's soldier. A statesman and no stranger to the headlines. His name is etched in history for many, many reasons.
That's right, Victor. From his military rule in the 1980s to returning decades later as a democratically elected president in 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari is indeed a name to be reckoned with.
Now, whether you were a fan or a fierce critic, one thing is clear. You couldn't ignore him. His war against corruption, his massive infrastructure push, and his steady, often silent demeanor made sure of that.
And yesterday at a special Federal Executive Council meeting, the tributes came pouring in. President Bola Tinubu called him the people's general, a fitting title for a man known for his firm grip and unwavering stance.
Now, Senate President Godswill Akpabio and House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas also didn't hold back. They praised his resilience, how he never flinched under pressure, and how deeply he believed in Nigeria, imperfections and all.
Still, let's be honest, Buhari's legacy is a mixed bag. For some, he was a symbol of integrity. For others, a leader who fell short on some promises. But love him or not, this moment has the whole nation pausing to reflect.
Indeed, and one image that really stayed with me is President Tinubu leading the funeral procession to Daura. He called it an honor. That's powerful. It really shows the weight of this moment.
And of course, if you watch the live broadcast on the Nigerian Television Authority, you would have seen the point where President Bola Tinubu actually took a bow as he bid farewell to the former president of Nigeria. And yesterday's FEC session was somber, a collective bow to a man who shaped decades of Nigerian politics. And with that, we continue our special series in honor of the late Muhammadu Buhari. Thanks for being with us. I'm Ian Ray John.
And I am Victor, as welcome to the program. We have got newspaper review coming up with Chukwudi Okoli as usual. But first, let's catch up with the latest news from Musa Abubakar. Alhaji Musa, good morning to you.
Good morning to the both of you. Well, here's the news. Special activities in honor of the passing of Muhammadu Buhari got to climax as the Federal Executive Council members held an expanded special session to mourn the immediate past president. President Bola Tinubu, who chaired the special session in memory of his late political ally, renamed the University of Maiduguri after the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has reminded foreign investors in the solid minerals sector that Nigeria is not looking for charity and will only accept investments that bring sustainable income and development to the country. This was at the ministerial roundtable meeting of the 4th African Natural Resources and Energy Investment Summit in Abuja. Population experts are calling for stronger use of demographic data in national planning and decision making, while including a comprehensive sexuality education and greater investment in young people to tackle the country's reproductive health challenges. These concerns were raised during media engagement in Abuja as the National Population Commission commences activities to commemorate the 2025 National World Population Day in Nigeria. The federal government is pulling out all the stops for a complete digital transformation. The Civil Service of the Federation is spearheading the effort with a bold move, a paperless policy set to come to force by the end of this year. But the question is, how prepared are government establishments for this paradigm shift, and how are they leveraging services of the government-owned digital technological backbone entity, Galaxy Backbone? The head of Civil Service of the Federation was on a tour of the agency's facility in Abuja. Political inclusion is a fundamental right, and the active participation of persons with disabilities in the democratic process is essential in Nigeria. Persons with disabilities represent a significant portion of the population, yet they often face systemic barriers that hinder their full participation in the electoral process. South Africa's Political Inclusion Index tool examines the level of disability inclusivity by INEC, political parties, media and security institutions for roles they play in the electioneering process. And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues after the break.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear you call us, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we are more than the solution. We are Nigeria, strengthened in unity, we know they carry love. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet comes with the nutrients they need every day. Made from natural grains, contains protein and fortified with iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
Hey Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Drive with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas nation ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It powers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Ìjọba fún wa ní 75,000. NIN mi àti káàdì láti lọ gbà. Nígbà tí mo sì gbà, mo fi ṣe nǹkan tó dáa, mo ra oògùn nínú rẹ̀. Mo ra oúnjẹ tí màá jẹ nínú rẹ̀. Mo sì wọkọ̀ mi náà ń bẹ. A sì fi yòókù ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ajé pé ká tó máa rí dé bá. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba wa òkè.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation,
Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during internment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
I thank you for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria. Newspaper review is next on the menu.
We have Chukwudi Okolie-Ogbaja with us again this morning. It's a pleasure to have him here. Good morning to you, sir.
My dear, not my twin brother. This is the real Chokes the boy. How are you doing?
Very well.
Nobody calls me that anymore. And you better forget it because I'm beginning to creak in the wrong places again.
Perhaps nobody wants to seduce you. Good morning, welcome.
Look at me here. Newspaper review.
Victor, that's too early. Anyways, let's get serious and look at what the papers have this morning. We'll begin with the Business NG. The lead story on the Business NG says Zamfara, Yobe, Sokoto lead as Nigeria's most affordable states in June 2025. That's according to NBS. Zamfara, Yobe, Sokoto lead as Nigeria's most affordable states in June 2025. Interesting. Above that, London seeks to ease Nigeria-UK payment barriers, and that's on page 2. Above the masthead, INEC extends voter registration in Anambra as over 96,000 sign up in 9 days. Of course, those in Anambra are looking forward to a governorship election later in the year. Away from that, we have federal government to halt fish importation, plans aquaculture growth. Lagos, food inflation bites. Onion, 130,000 naira. Pepper, 140,000 naira. Rice, 75,000 naira. Okay. Below that, DMO raises 4.27 billion naira in July 2025 savings bonds. All right, that's all I can take from the Business NG this morning. If you want to read up more stories, pick up a copy. Let's see the blueprint now. The blueprint, of course, has Buhari as its lead headline. Buhari was a decent man, never moved by power. That's credited to Tinubu. The writers, Akpabio, Abbas, NGF, others extol ex-president's virtues. He was a devoted servant of the people, according to some governors. Fake names made after late Nigerian leader. Above that headline, we have Ondo landlord, 2 others arrested over kidnap, murder of 2 varsity students. Away from that, above the masthead, we have FG losing revenue to MDA's negligence, according to FIROS. Tunji Ojo, Alake, Umahi, Kiari, Utsev, Hadiza, Usman, bag blueprint impact awards, and of course, no new terror group in Nigeria. DHQ counters Turkey envoy. That's on page 9. Benue to shut down 4,000 substandard schools, according to official. And finally, in the green strip at the bottom of the front page of the blueprint this morning, we have NOA sensitizes Gwagwalada community on flood safety. Victor.
All right, thank you, Ian Ray. And I have Leadership Friday here. The world headline here reads, Tinubu renames University of Maiduguri after Buhari. Is on page 7 with quite a number of riders says he was a leader of austere honor. Quiet courage affects tribute session in ex-president's honor. Buhari's son Yusuf tears up while giving vote of thanks. Ex-president was misunderstood. That's credited to Shatima. Buhari was principled, says Akpabio. He was a moral compass, Abbas. All right, and the picture story tells a bit of the story, the president, the vice president, and the children of the late former president. Now, above the nameplate, Etunupe demands new strategy to fight bandits. It's on page 8. And on page 7, we are grateful to those who have forgiven our father, Buhari's daughters. And beside the nameplate, ADC calls for audit of refineries. You can get that on page 8. And coming down the line, National Summit, delegates seek Constituent Assembly. You can get details on page 8. States reject Electricity Act Amendment Bill is on page 17. And landlord connives with kidnappers to rape murder varsity students is on page 15. And finally, soldiers reject 13 million naira bribe from terrorists in Plateau. Chukwudi.
Let them reject more and more and more and more, and at the end of the day, really deal with them, insurgency and banditry. Bravo to those soldiers. In these times, it is not very easy resisting certain pains. Now, humility is in some families as if it's a member, the unseen member of the family. We are grateful to those who have forgiven our father. That's coming from one of Buhari's daughters, or rather Buhari's daughters. That I call humility. Because we live in a country where you tend to see more fire for fire. Do me, I do you. For people to read some of the things that were written on social media and still be able to talk like this. As I said yesterday, it's little things that make me determine character, not the big things. So for them to talk like this, I want to say that they are worthy daughters of their father. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Leader of austere honor, quiet courage. Buhari's son tearing up, that's spilling tears at the occasion there. All these are to be expected. The moral compass he is, that's coming from the
emotions too.
Of course. Yeah. However, when Buhari said that time, I am for everybody and I am for nobody. Now, of course, spoken like a general. That's what he was saying, is that I'll be fair to all, even if it is my mama, it doesn't matter. Fair is fair. But at the end of the day, I still saw a Buhari that was saying, I must have hurt some people when I was in power. Please forgive me. For people to say that, stop looking for that man with the egregious blunder. We all blunder to some extent.
To err is human.
To err is human. To forgive is divine. So let it end on a very happy note, because the subject has departed this earth. Did you say that Zamfara, Yobe, and Sokoto,
the most affordable in June? I'm beginning to think of my next locations then.
Your next location.
Honestly, it would be good.
When he hear
it would be great.
he go tell driver, forget my transport for house. But on a serious note, one would have thought that with the kind of things happening on that access, cost of living and all that would increase. The governor, I think, of Zamfara is actually thanking the World Bank, then commending the school feeding program and all that. He says those have given a soft landing to what would have been a harsh conditional situation. That's part of it. But still, I am rather thrilled to consider or to hear that states in the epicenter, well, you could say that Borno is more in the epicenter of the insurgency there, are having this kind of a record, from National Bureau of Statistics. It's quite interesting. The landlord that got 2 students raped and killed,
kidnapped,
And murdered.
They said one of the boys was rude to him. That was all the reason. Thank God they didn't jump to Fulani herdsmen in this matter. You know, look, many evils are happening in Nigeria, given a banner that is deceptive and all that. Of course, the herdsman matter, you see cases where the herdsmen are indeed a problem for people. But some people are using them as a camouflage. I would have thought that that's the first thing they would say here, you know. It's like a news writer starting with an unknown gunman have done whatever. You're telling the police there's nobody to investigate because they're unknown. That's a bad way to start the news. They've stopped it now. Some of us cried ourselves hoarse, shouted ourselves hoarse on social media about it. So I am happy that he has been accosted. And of course, the people he sent to do that as well are in police net. Can you see man's inhumanity to man?
To man. Very sad. And there's this one flying around on the internet about two sisters who masterminded the kidnap of their own brother. You know. But anyways, let's leave all of that. Just hope that all of this will change. There's this story that's caught my attention. It didn't make the headline, but I want to hear your take on it. FG suspends recruitment into NIS. NSCDC, FFS, of course, this is the ministry Victor covers, and the Nigeria Customs Service and all of that, over glitches. It caught my attention because I remember the first time this announcement about the recruitment into these agencies was announced. After some days, we were told it's been suspended, and then it resumed again, and now again it's been suspended. I think the reason they are giving is glitches over the traffic on the internet. And I'm saying that when will all of this stop? That happens all the time when agencies of government announce that they are recruiting. I mean, can't we get this right so that people who really want to apply can apply, and then some people are not, one way, I don't know.
I don't want to. I think I did about 4 documentaries for somebody concerning the NIS. Are they the ones with the what did they call them? I can't remember now. But the point is that many of these internet protocols they installed in their offices are not really at their best. I'm not talking about the NIS one now. I'm talking generally. They really are not state of the art. The glitches do happen. Broadband realities for them.
Is it deliberate, just so that some people do not apply?
I don't know.
Because I mean, if you want to make this open and fair, so that all Nigerians, those who want,
I'm seeing it in a different way.
Okay.
Yes, glitches have been adduced, but doesn't it also tell a story of the sheer magnitude of people trying to apply, which is what it's causing it to break down? That's the way I see it. The sheer number of people that need employment.
Yeah, but the input you're making onto a computer will be input that has been anticipated by the computer.
Perhaps this wasn't.
You know, I think it's more of, it's just like the traditional banks, their internet protocol isn't as efficient as those of the fintech, whatever. It's not. You send money to, maybe this sounds like an advertisement. You send money to one of these online banks. Before the person hears spam, then you send from the conventional or traditional banks. You say, wait for maybe 10 minutes, it will come.
Sometimes you wait for days.
Exactly.
That's also...
It is still internet protocol deficiency. And these are people who are going to announce humongous profits at the end of the year. But they won't give a lot of money to make sure that broadband for them is something that is seamless.
But that's also, you see, we look at it from two sides. You've seen one side where it is swift. That's also how swiftly, if you are swindled, if money goes out your bank, you never get it. It runs very fast before. Nobody will even listen to you. So you look at it from both sides.
Even with the traditional banks, if you want to be swindled, it also happens.
It is easier to manage than. So perhaps it is the security protocol, maybe, I don't bank, I'm not a banker, but maybe the security protocol makes it...
Delays it deliberately.
Yes, a bit. On those banks you talk about, if your money goes out in an unauthorized manner, you never get it.
Anyways, away from banks, talking about this
I
recruitment,
don't know whether
it is important
the
to
other
get
banks
the
you're talking
internet
about are not-
services right for recruitment purposes, so
Yes.
that those who want to apply get the opportunity to apply, and then, of course, I mean, the screening
I
is
think
done
they
and all of
will.
that, so that, you know, the right candidate is picked at the end of the day, and then it's not a situation whereby some people are favored and, you know,
I think,
somehow.
No, I think let's not be alarmist. I think genuinely there could be a challenge, because even if they want to do it, bypass what you're talking about and pick the people they want to pick, they'll do it. They'll tell you the people that are going through and that the people that went through were considered.
Let's not push
So,
us into speculation.
speculation,
The
yeah.
point is, make these things work.
Exactly.
The way they work in some countries we know. They are not ghosts.
All right, many thanks, Chukwudi.
Chukwudi.
We need to leave it at this point. We'll see you next week, and I hope that you do not creak next week.
Before they grab a cup of tea.
Thank you.
All right. We'll get into our conversation, but that's after this break. Please, don't go anywhere.
I am pleased to announce encouraging news from the National Bureau of Statistics, which released the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, for April 2025 only yesterday. According to the report, the headline inflation rate for April stood at 23.71%, This represents a decrease of 0.52% from the 24.23% recorded in March 2025. Similarly, month-on-month inflation dropped by a notable 2.04%, from 3.90% in March to 1.86% in April. This, of course, did not just happen by chance. The president is focused and is determined, and his determination and his interventions are clearly paying off. The benefits of reform, though gradual, are real and measurable.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership.
Abba Abubakar Aliu, MD, CEO of Rural Electrification Agency, takes us through the gamut of activities and mandates of Rural Electrification Agency, as well as its achievements and dreams.
I really want to see that I leave a lasting legacy that can be spoken of in a very long period of time.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more.
Meet Professor Charles Anosike, the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, as he shares his vision in repositioning NIMET as a key player in Nigeria's climate strategy.
Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Mention a popular Nigerian childhood game of the 80s and 90s.
Police and thief. Playing rubber.
No be arm rubber.
Mommy and daddy.
Mommy and daddy. Survey says.
Hey. She loves to cook and I like to eat.
That's my boy.
I like to go out, but sometimes my pocket just tells me,
bruh,
go inside.
Don't be only you. Mention something you would do if you meet with a lion. Call for help. Help me. The lion, they carry me, go here.
I like to watch football with him.
Nice.
Not Arsenal. They know they carry league.
Drop some bars.
All right. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
You did not even rap.
If you're happy and you know it, let me see your 32. Smile for me, baby. You know they give me attitude.
Felicity, they're here.
At
NTA Television College JOS, you will dive into exhilarating hands that will fuel your passion in education and propel your career to new heights. We don't just teach, we craft the next generation of media leaders. Explore our diverse offering, understanding the personnel matters and issues in the public service, basic development communication, financial reporting under IPSAS, and interpretation of public sector accounting standard IPSAS, audit, internal check and control management, video camera maintenance, new technologies, optics, fiber, IP technologies, automation, storage management, and wireless technology. Challenges and opportunities in the secretarial profession in the digital age. Digital marketing, basic drama, online reporting, understanding the provisions of the revised public service, audio engineering operations and maintenance, camera operations, and intermediate drama. Mark your calendar. The second quarter of 2025 is your launch pad. This is your moment to seize the future. Announcer Management.
All right, it's still Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service of the NTA. Our conversation today is on the expanded Special Federal Executive Council meeting, which held yesterday for the late President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as his legacies, which of course will set the tone for the conversation this morning. But before you meet our guest, let's take this background report put together by Musbao Danwahab.
At the end of an era, a once leader of the House would be celebrated by a new generation led by his successor, President Bola Tinubu. An unprecedented expansion session of the highest decision-making body of government came to order for the immediate past presidents who passed on. In addition to the leadership of the National Assembly, members of the immediate family of late President Muhammadu Buhari would equally witness the honor done to their late father.
We meet to honor a man whose presence.
His political ally and successor, Bola Tinubu, never lacks words to describe the late leader on a day like this.
President Buhari's life was one of austere honor. He stood always ramrod straight, unmoved by the temptation of power, unseduced by applause, and afraid of the loneliness that often visits those who do what is right. Rather than what is popular, was a quiet courage, a righteousness that never announced itself. His patriotism was lived more in action than in words.
President Tinubu also illuminates the consistency in the life, time and character of late Buhari.
President Buhari was not a perfect man, no leader is, but he was, in every sense of the word, a good man, a decent man, an honorable man. His record will be debated as all legacies are, but the character he brought to public life, the moral force he carried, the incorruptible standard he presented will not be forgotten. His was a life lived in full service to Nigeria and in fidelity to God.
Other leaders and members of the cabinet also had their times to account the respective sides they saw in the man Muhammadu Buhari.
A very principled man. He stood for something. And in a world where it is easy to chase deadlines, he chose instead to chase on. Where others sought glory, he sought duty.
His development vision reached beyond the present and into the future. The roads, railways, and bridges he built are lasting gifts to the generations yet unborn.
A man whose life was woven into the fabric of our nation. A soldier, a patriot, a statesman, and above all, a devoted servant of the Nigerian people.
And then an appreciation from the Buhari's family.
It has
showed that he was regarded far more than a politician, but regarded as a friend and a father. To all members of the Federal Executive Council, for the care and befitting state burial accorded to our late father, we appreciate you all.
The former head of state was the second Nigerian who ruled twice with his second reign as a democratic leader between May 29, 2015 and May 29, 2023. President Muhammadu Buhari, who died at 82 in London, was laid to rest this Tuesday in his hometown of Dara.
Naming of University of Maiduguri with a new name as Muhammadu Buhari University, Maiduguri.
Present grace in perfect peace. Amen.
All right. Many thanks, Musbah Dan Wahab, for that background report. Let's now begin this conversation by welcoming our guests. And first, let me welcome Ibrahim Adebayo Shitu, who is a lawyer and politician. He is a former Minister of Communications. We welcome you to Good Morning, Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
And let me also welcome Ahmed Sajo, Public Relations Specialist and a strategic thinker. He is former Commissioner for Information, Adamawa State. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning, Nigeria.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Also joining us for the conversation, but not right here in the studio, all the way from Jos, is distinguished Senator Simon Bako Lalong. He represents Plateau South Senatorial District in the 10th Senate. He was former Speaker and Governor of Plateau State and former Chairman, Northern Governors Forum. Many thanks for joining us, sir. Also joining us for this conversation via Zoom from Lagos is Femi Adesina, former presidential aide. Many thanks for joining us, sir. Via Zoom. Former presidential aide. Many thanks for joining us, sir.
All right. I wish I had Mr. Adesina. I would have loved to begin from that end, if you could hear me. I wish I had. I wish I had Nigeria. I choose to begin with you because being former spokesperson to the former president, you had a bit of a personal relationship with the man. More than most, I want to believe, because you have to take personal briefings at times and all of those. Seeing the emotions, seeing the speeches at yesterday's special FEC session, would you say this resonates or resonated with what you knew about him? Was it on a personal note, what they talked about, or as a professional? How would you describe the tributes at yesterday's FEC session?
Thank you very much. What that FEC session showed me was that there are some truths that are now universal about the late President Muhammadu Buhari. Each person that spoke and I listened to, I just told myself, oh, it's like this person knew the president personally. And I knew it was not so. So what that tells us, what it shows us, is that some truths have become universal about him. When they talked about his honesty, his forthrightness, his simplicity, his humility, everything was just in line with the man Buhari. So it was a good session. It was a session that made one to be proud of the late president once again.
Many thanks, Mr. Adesina, for your opening comments. I would get back to you. Let's now return to the studio and hear from our guests right here about the late President Muhammadu Buhari. I'd like to get to Abdurrahim Adebayo Shitu, now former Minister of Communications. I mean, Femi Adesina thinks that some truths about the former president are now universal. I would like you to share with us,
well, the truth,
what you think about
the truth is,
him.
So many Nigerians know what the truth is, but I think getting to copy or imitate the truth is usually a problem with us in Nigeria. Because the life of the late Buhari is an open page for everybody in this country. Some hate him, some love him, for whatever reasons. But to get people to do like he did has always been a problem. This is a president who was president on 2 or 3 occasions. And for those of us who were sufficiently close to him, we never saw any time that he was wearing any new dresses or putting on new shoes and all of that. He was simply himself at all times. I always love to refer to him as perhaps the most incorruptible political leader in this country. And if we have such a leader, more often than not, it's only after he has left us that we appreciate him. One would have loved that all the platitudes about the president were things that Nigerians would have loved to imitate, even while he was alive, even when they were seeing him on an everyday, platform. But the man is gone now. It is for us, I hope that writers will try to put pen to paper and expand on some of these good things that he has done.
You say he was incorruptible. Would you say that his
Perhaps
corruption, the most incorruptible, would you say his corruption drive when he was president was effective?
Well, he was incorruptible as an individual. It was not necessarily, a thing shared by even a lot of people around him. He was just himself.
Which was why I was going to ask how much his persona.
Yes.
It's about him, we're not talking the administration now. He was incorruptible as an individual. But how much did that trickle down to those of you who worked with him at the time that you worked with him?
Well, is a thing of regret to say that not many people, saw the need, a compelling need to behave like he did. He was also alone. He was an island of himself, unfortunately. There were so many people very close to him, particularly even relations, people he brought together to assist him in his government. A lot of them didn't really have anything for people to envy, about them. But the man is dead now. I think Nigeria should make better progress in the area of fighting corruption. Let people who work with government be committed and be compelled to do the needful in regard to public offices. This is a very serious situation we are in this country. And it's unfortunate, when he was a military head of state, I think he did much better in regard to enforcing incorruptibility when he was in military. Well, when he
because there was no bureaucracy.
Because, but as a civilian regime, he was laid bare. He was,
all right. Thank you so much. One of your comments is that he was an island. He was on his own. I mean, he had very rare qualities, and those around him couldn't, imbibe those qualities. Speak to us, really. During his time as president, would you say that he did much, especially with the media, just so that Nigerians could understand him and understand his personality better, you know, compared to the things that were happening during his time as president?
Well, let me start by saying inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant late Muhammadu Buhari al-Jannah Firdaus. May Allah accept his soul, and may Allah forgive him of his shortcomings as a human person. I knew Buhari, well, not personally, but I knew him much longer than this. I was in primary school when he became the governor of the Northeast, and I was part of that Northeast. And we knew how he tried to change the landscape in the Northeast region at that time, before states were further created and he became the governor of Borno State. And later, I was on duty in NTA Yola on the 31st of December when soldiers came and took over the station. And we were trapped in the station for about 4 days. You know, we couldn't go home because soldiers had taken over the station. That was when we learned that Muhammadu Buhari had become the military head of state. Again, we had our experiences at that time, and I could recall quite a number of those experiences. But we all knew, you know, that one trait that came through was that he was personally, morally upright. You can't question that. But at every turn of events, one of the things that people complain is that he moves solo. You know, he believes in something and he pursues it very tenaciously, but it's very difficult for people on the same journey with him to understand where he was heading to and to go with him on that journey. But one very critical thing is that in relating with the media, Buhari is Buhari. He does not say what he doesn't mean, and he does not mean what he doesn't say. He's been very straight. If you want to understand the Buhari era, the first Buhari era when he was military head of state, go to any library, pick up any newspaper. You know, when Buhari tells you that he likes cartoons, some of us who understood why he did so, I did a lot of research on what happened during Decree 4. People were afraid of writing or speaking out. And so the medium of expressing dissent to government policies were cartoons. And they were quite ingenious and, you know, very crafty cartoons during that period. And so he himself, as head of state, began to enjoy some of the cartoons because these were the only means through which people could express dissent at that time. But he related very well with the media. He related very well because he just came out himself, and the media, you know, kept feasting on it. You know, you remember his word when they put pressure on him as to why his spouse was saying a different thing from what you know what they wanted. Look at it, very simple, witty, and straightforward, and he made a statement that became a catchphrase in the entire country till today. You know, so that kind of person, that's the kind of person.
All right.
When it comes to engaging the media.
Thank you very much. Let's quickly get to Senator Simon Lalong, who's joined us from Jos. Good to see you again, distinguished Senator Lalong. Now, you yourself are a northern leader, and I'd just like to find out from you, in your opinion, how the late former president's presidency influenced politics and governance in the north.
Well, thank you very much. Let me, on behalf of myself and also the good people, supporters from Plateau, also express our condolences once again to the family of the of our former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, and also to the president, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, I said this because many people are even calling me to say, we didn't see you in Daura. I must tell you, I must confess that I didn't believe believe the story. It took me 2 days and I broke down. On the day we were all going to be buried, he was going to be buried, I was also in the hospital. So I couldn't go to Daura. I regret that, but I still cherish what Mr. President did for him. A wonderful departing gift, I must say, to our former president. Now, coming back to the relationship, like you said, I must say, President Buhari was one of those that called me when we were going to do elections. And when I went to him, after I realized that there was some manipulation, I must say, by the present vice president, who was calling me to be sure that I must be in Kaduna for the election of the Northern Governors Forum. I said, what is my own? I want to go and nominate somebody, and Your Excellency, you are saying that I must be there. I knew something was happening. So by the time I got there and I was nominated that night, I had to call Mr. President Buhari. I said, look, this thing happened before to one of my former governors. He was nominated but rejected. I don't want to be nominated and rejected. And President Buhari said, look, I am part of those who said you must be the next Northern Governors Chairman. Imagine a president telling you that. Imagine a president telling you that. So on the day one, the next day, when Kashim ensured I was elected, and he now gave me the mantle for 4 years, I got in touch. I was very close to Mr. President. After that, nominated as a DG campaign for Kashim, for Tinubu and Kashim, brought me again more closer to President Buhari. I can go on and tell you some of the aspects of this relationship that I will say were some of these things that influenced a lot of things that I did when I was governor of Plateau State, because I saw him as an idol. I saw him as somebody that you copy in the way of his simplicity. Let me tell you, those who travel with him will tell you, anytime you are invited to travel with Buhari, President Buhari, to any country, you know that you are also going to be in trouble. We always whispered with ourselves and say, wow, by the time you get into the plane, what he does is that he will not leave where you are sitting. He will leave his place and come and sit with you until you start sleeping. That's when he will leave. There was one who was there with myself and 2 governors, and so we were so tired. He came, sat down, and we were discussing. What we did was I pushed my leg. I said, let's feign that we are sleeping. We felt that we were sleeping. I said, you people want to sleep? We said, yes, sir. Then he left. After we had not slept for about 1 or 2 hours, and he came back again. When he came back and woke us up, I said, what? We had not slept, sir. He said, sleeping what? He said, you told me you were going to sleep. I am back again, and back to discuss all your states. That was opportunity for you to be free to discuss everything you had in your state. For me, he came 3 times. All the places in the north each time. If there was trouble, he will call me. He will say, Chairman, there is trouble in Zamfara. Chairman, there is trouble in Katsina. What are you people doing about it? And when we got, in terms of the economic aspect, the oil well at Kolmani, that was the one that we pushed. We pushed heavily to the point where before his exit, he ensured that it was commissioned. He made sure that all northern, the NNDC, all the outstanding salaries and everything were paid. And he also got in touch with so many things that I can't say on this television. Now let me put the other humanitarian aspect. You know the law on disabilities. We copied the one from Plateau State. He came, he called me and said, look, I learned you are doing very well in disabilities in Plateau. I said, yes, sir. He said, what is the magic? They are saying they want the same repeated here through the Honorable Minister Sadia. I said, well, we can do that. And when we brought the law from Plateau State, copied it at the national, he now said, look, go and bring that your DG in Plateau. We'll appoint him as the national coordinator of the Disability Rights Commission. And that was the same person I brought. What about the young, not too young to run? When they came to me and said, look, help us, when the young people were already putting the law, he said, oh, you want the young people to run? I said, yes, sir. He said, you want them to run? He said, yes. Where is the law? I said, the law is coming. We're pushing it to you. We pushed it to him, and he signed. Although that caused problem for me, too, in my house. Because the day the law was signed, my son was challenging me that I should pack and leave because this is their time. This is their time to start running, to start running. And Buhari, anytime you come to him, you sometimes don't predict. Because at the time that you are thinking that you are coming to meet a military leader, he will change. There was a time he called. I was wondering why he was calling me. They say he wanted to see me. I was even afraid. When I got it, he said, he usually calls me the man from the rocks. He said, from these your rocks, when you get back to the rocks, you don't want to get out of the rocks again. The first question he asks is, why don't you come to see me? I don't see you frequently here, Governor Plateau. I said, sir, but you told us not to be disturbing you. You told us not to be disturbing you. You said we should not ask you for appointments, because when we do appointments in our various states, nobody bothers, or we don't discuss with you. Then what he said, no, you will be wrong. I want you to frequent this place. Bring all your problems. Bring all your problems. And that day was when I went there. The day I went there, I came out with something. 3 appointments. He said, bring anything that you want. I gave him 3. I said, these are 3 proposals that I have been fighting to get. He said, bring them. I brought them, and he signed. All of them were appointed. So, in terms of simplicity, he was one side. His spirit about fighting corruption was very, very, everybody will tell you that it was factual. I say factual because anybody that told you, that will tell you that Buhari was pretending when he was fighting corruption, that person is not a Nigerian. I don't think.
Many thanks, Senator Lalong, for your response to that question. Very interesting, you know, I mean, the relationship you had with the former president. But, you know, you mentioned something about security and him asking you about the situation. That's often one area critics point to when they want to talk about his time as president. They talk about the economic and security struggles. Would you say that the former president did enough in these areas?
He did enough. I told you about what he was doing about the North, specifically about Plateau State. The very moment we had a first meeting with him, and all of us were complaining, he singled out Plateau and he said, look, you people are talking about bailout. Well, some of you are coming back for the second time, governors. I will assume that you are part of those who wreck your states. But for this young man, he pointed at me. He said, for this young man, Plateau, I wonder what you are going to do in Plateau. Because your state is bedeviled, you are inheriting crisis, and I've seen your account very empty. I don't know what you do. Well, for people like you, I will do bailout. And that was when he started the process of bailout. And true to that, when I came in, you realize that within 3-4 months, we were able to summon all the troubles in Plateau State. Everything he said that is possible, he said, please feel free, Mr. Governor. Feel free to tell me I want peace in Plateau. I live in Plateau State before I became military head of state. I bought my first plot of land in Plateau State, and my dream with my late wife was that we were coming back to live in Plateau State. Each time I meet him, I remember these words. He said, I bought my first plot, not with my money, not even in Daura. I bought my first plot in Plateau State because of the weather and because people wanted to live in Plateau State. Please ensure that you bring back sanity to Plateau State. So we did our best. And you remember that he came to Plateau how many times? Every time there was crisis, Buhari will come. At one time, there was crisis in Plateau State. The vice president, he sent the vice president to come. The vice president came, slept, took every complaint. The next day, the vice president was going, I was at the airport. There was no need for him to come again. But when we saw the vice president at the airport, the vice president left. I was going to drive back, and the GOC called me. He said, look, you have to go back. I said, what? He said, I have another signal. I said, what is the signal? That Mr. President is on the way to Jos again. I said, the vice president was here 2 days. It's enough. He said, no. President said he was coming himself. And indeed, he came himself. Because of the challenges, he provided so many security outfits. Is it the rescue barracks, Air Force? Is it the Air Force mobile stations that he created in Plateau State? Is it the peace building agency that we created and he launched and made it an example to be used all over the North, all over the North in terms of engagement, in terms of engagement. And then the Operation Rainbow that he was always giving directives so that they will ensure there was peace on the plateau. So that was the same thing that was happening. When we came, you remember Borno, the Boko Haram. How he addressed Boko Haram in Borno, and then the situations in the Northwest. All of them were challenges that Buhari concentrated on. And he said, look, all these things are about poverty. Let us ensure that we take people off poverty. Now, by the time you take people off poverty, also ensure that in your various states there is fairness, equity, and justice. And justice. That will be the guiding principle in addressing some of these insecurities. So for me, I can always say, people are calling us, they say Buhari's children. Some will even say Buhari's cabal, Buhari's this, Buhari's that, Buhari's that. I will tell you that I don't regret working with President Buhari all my time until I left him. The regrettable aspect was that 2 days before he left, I think 2 or 3 days, somebody went to visit him in Kaduna, and he came back, a senator. He said, look, you better go and see Baba. I said, what happened? He said, I went there, and immediately I went to see him. He asked me, how is Lalong doing in the Senate? Imagine somebody asking after you like that. So I was preparing to go to see him when they said he went to the UK. And unfortunately, he didn't come back. May his soul rest in peace. And may God grant him pardon for all his sins.
Thank you very much, Senator Lalong. Thank you. Now, let me get back to Mr. Adeshino, Femi Adeshino, who is joining us via Zoom. Now, I made the point earlier that you had one of, the vantage positions being a close aide of the then president. And I want to ask, in his quieter moments, what exactly did he reflect on the most? Was it about leadership? Was it about legacy? Or might it be, office itself, the weight of office?
Thank you very much. I had the privilege of being given a rain check that I could see him anytime, whether in the office or at home. Of course, if I saw him in the office, it would be for official issues. I don't take private issues to him in the office. If I had a private issue, I just wanted to sit and talk with him, I'll go to the house in the evening. And we had very private moments where it was only me and him. I know one thing that bothered him was that too many people were deviating. I remember the night he lamented, said, we have come to do this job. We have asked these people to come and do it along with us. Now they are here. They are just serving themselves. I pitied him that night. My heart went out to him because they are not everybody. I think it was former Minister Shitu that said that before. Not everybody bought into his principles, particularly about service and about anti-corruption. Some people were just there to serve themselves, just as the president lamented. So that used to worry him a lot. And then another thing that used to trouble his mind was legacy. Legacy. The president felt concerned about the legacy he was going to leave, and he was determined to make a difference. Usually we'll talk about legacy. I remember there was a time prices went up, skyrocketed in the country, and there were complaints. So that night I went to see him. Mr. President, things are difficult. People are complaining. He said, I know, because people from my own constituency who can reach me are also telling me. He said, we have this opportunity to make a difference in the country, and we are resolved to make it. So making a difference was uppermost in his mind. He felt that what he had was a divine opportunity to effect change in the country. And so it was uppermost in his mind at all times.
Many thanks, Femi Adesina. Let's return to the studio now. Maybe I'll get to Ahmed Sajo this time. I mean, so many comments about all that the former president did, and, you know, beautiful things, really. But would you say that he did so much to unify the country, you know, during his time as president, especially because, I mean, we're beginning to see increasing ethnic and religious tensions in different parts of the country. Just look at the 8 years he was president and his actions and inactions. Did you say it promoted unity in this regard?
I must say that Muhammadu Buhari was a man of honor, and his template was very simple, that everything he wanted it built around the honor that he cherishes as a person. And to that extent, he had a large quantum of trust. He trusted people. He trusted people to a fault, to the extent that he believed throughout his life that people should act responsibly and reasonably. And I heard people yesterday during the fake, everybody was mentioning about the fact that he was a moral compass for the country. And it was on the basis of that morality that he expected everybody to behave. So if for any reason actions were taken that were seen to be contrary to expectations, they were not directly from Buhari. They may have come from people he entrusted to take certain actions to ensure certain things happen. But he is not a kind of person that will create disaffection deliberately. And I give you an example. My brother Garba Shehu, when he was launching his book, made mention of a statement that people tend to overlook. Garba Shehu had worked with Waziri Atiku Abubakar, and when government was formed, it was Atiku Abubakar that actually gave Buhari Garba Shehu to work with. For the 8 years that Garba Shehu worked with Muhammadu Buhari, anytime there was a reason to respond to a statement from Atiku, he never asked Garba Shehu to do it. He respected the fact that Garba Shehu had worked with Atiku. That's the kind of moral, compass we're talking about. Somebody who had honor. I cannot, you cannot come from somebody's house and I send you to go and destroy the house. So in terms of building unity for our country, Buhari's template was that first there has to be honor. We must be honorable enough to understand that we have roles. Each individual has a role. And then secondly, Buhari understood that we are duty bound morally to behave in a manner that will promote the best interest.
Do you think that style of governance
or
leadership works in a country like Nigeria, a situation where you hand over responsibility to people and then you just allow them to,
Well, there is nothing like allow them to. There is, what I am telling you is that he expected them to. If they betrayed that expectation, we pray that if you want to put the fault on his doorstep, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him for that. But he had expectations. Let me tell you, at the time Buhari became president, personally, I was not a Nigerian. Because at that time, my area, the area where I come from, had been taken over by a group that called itself Boko Haram and, had changed the name of my hometown to Madinatul Islam and had ransacked most of us and made us non-Nigerians. Buhari brought us back.
Have you reapplied for citizenship?
Buhari brought us back. so any one of us that's from those areas that were taken over, that were recovered by Muhammadu Buhari, we should continue to say thank you to him for bringing us back to Nigeria. So if he didn't want a Nigeria that was united, he would have just asked us to, oh yeah, you have already gone, just go your way. Then he will ask other people to also go their way. No. I think he did the best he could do within the circumstances that he found himself. He respected people, he trusted people, he worked with people, and of course you cannot be a leader unless you work with people. Nobody leads himself. We always say, even the grave digger, requires people to bury the person. So no matter your condition, you need people. And he needed people, he worked with people, he trusted people, he respected people's views. He never, you will never hear of Buhari chiding somebody or talking to somebody, talking down to somebody in public. There is no record of that anywhere, that he disgraced somebody in public because he was disgusted by the actions of the person. In private, he could do that, but in public, he never did, because he had respect for everybody. And that is the greatest legacy we need to take from Muhammadu Buhari.
Right.
We need to respect each other.
All right. Thank you very much, Ahmed Sajo. While you were talking, in fact, it was a profound point you made about Garba Shehu, because it frees him up from being a conflicted person. You have a lot of people around today who had worked with person A and hailed him and spoke every lofty things about the person, and today, they work with person B, and you have a lot of them in the space. But Garba Shehu has been spared, that kind of lifestyle and
because of
character.
the person he worked with.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Let me get to former Minister of Communications. I was just wondering while he spoke too, from the cabinet while you worked, I'm just imagining what was it like briefing the former president on tech, for instance. Let's assume, I can't remember what exactly we called it. Was it the technology village or something that you tried at the time? What was it like briefing him, trying to convince him on technology?
Well, he was at home with everybody and with every issue. The thing is, he doesn't impose himself on all his ideas on anybody. He's one person who is easygoing, one person who is self-effacing, one person, like he said, he doesn't talk down on anybody. My problem really with him is that in government, my experience is when we're in a Federal Executive Council meeting and there's an issue, the then chief of army staff, the then chief of staff to the president at that time. Once in the course of discussions, once the then chief of staff, the late, chief of staff, Abakari was sitting fourth to him. Once Abakari stands up from his seat and goes to put something in Buhari's ears, yes, you can be sure that that issue is gone. You can imagine. I mean, I recall one of the things which pained me as a person.
But isn't that about trust? He trusted him so much.
It was too much. It was too much. I mean, the man was a human being. He had his own idiosyncrasies. He had his own likes and, and advantages taken. You can imagine if we were discussing about establishing, for instance, an ICT university in Nigeria. And then suddenly you find that somebody goes to the president and the president says, Barrister Shitu, I want to commend you for your hard work on this memo, but as you can see, it is an overambitious project. I was wondering, what is overambitious about having an ICT university in Nigeria? You can imagine what that would have done for Nigeria since the past 6-7 years. If we had succeeded in having an ICT university for the past 6 years.
We have one on transport.
We have one on transport, and in fact, between that time and now, we've had more than 20 new universities. I don't think there was any which was as important or as critical to national development and youth development as an ICT university. Unfortunately, it was frustrated. I had another personal experience. I discovered that in Nigeria we have the system in orbit. We have this system. What is it called? We have I've forgotten. One of our agencies has just one satellite in orbit. Okay. We have just one satellite in orbit. If a country as big as Nigeria has only one satellite in orbit, even government agencies will not patronize that agency. They would rather go to Asian countries where they have extra satellites, so that when one gets destroyed or collapses, you have an extra. It's just like you have a transport company flying Lagos, Abuja, and for such a company not to have extra tire. Can you imagine a transport company not having extra tire? Who would patronize them? Because if one tire bursts on the way, you'll be stuck. But I went to China at that time. I went to negotiate with the satellite, those who manufacture satellites. I wanted 2 extra satellites so that adding those 2 to 1 will make us comfortable, and then we can appeal to Nigerians to patronize Nigeria Satellite Company. But the same man, the late chief of staff, he frustrated it.
How did you take these frustrations at that time?
Well, I just take it in my stead because I have a boss, and my responsibility is to the boss. It is his job that I was doing, of course, for Nigeria. If the man says, no, sorry, we can't make progress, what do I do?
You didn't look for an opportunity to meet with the president as at that time?
No. In ESCO meetings, in executive council meetings, do I have to go and what do I do? So these are challenges that really we had. I had. But I wanted to make contributions to national development.
And this speaks to just him trusting people too much and people not buying
he trusted
into
some
the
of
kind
his
of
people
life he lived.
too much.
All right, many thanks. Let's get to Senator Lalong now. You know, as we deep in this conversation about the former president, now late. Speak to us about, you know, some of the foreign policies as at the time, the late Buhari was president, and how that shaped the perception, you know, of the international community about Nigeria. And, you know, speaking about perception, would you say that his time as president, he was understood? Do you think he was understood or misunderstood even by Nigerians?
Well, I will say that in most cases he was sometimes misunderstood by Nigerians, because in Nigeria too he had a very wild followership. You know, wild, I call it wild followership because especially in the north, anywhere Buhari went, it will be difficult to control people. I had experience here in Plateau State when he came for campaign. On those two occasions, we even lost people in the stadium because the security could not control the crowd that were going. So that is to tell you, the poor man's, the average Nigerian's perception of him. I also had opportunity to travel with him 2 or 3 countries. The first one was the invitation by President Donald Trump in his first, when he came in first as a president. Trump invited us, and I saw the way and the manner Trump was discussing with us, very free, and the way he took him. I was wondering, I said, if this is the same Buhari that they are talking about outside differently, and here we are with President Trump. The second one, we also traveled to, we went to Japan. We went to Japan with him. And when we got to Japan, a lot of discussions, and I knew why he went to Japan. I knew how he was getting to put Nigeria outside the world so that a lot of things can also come back, be brought back to Nigeria. I then traveled again, one of it, to Netherlands. His passion about agriculture took us to Netherlands, and I saw wonderful things. And every time he traveled with governors, he will tell you, you must pick something, so that when you get back, I will do something. We traveled there, and when we came back, I had an advantage of getting Africa Development Bank to finance potato value chain, because I know that one of his favorite food is potato. He will always remember and say that there is no way he cannot eat potato in a day. And he said Plateau can produce potato and export potato outside the country, but insecurity will not allow us to do that. So we must address that insecurity. So in order to do that, some of these things that you are talking about in terms of foreign policy, I don't see where, I have not seen any country, because during our time, saying that the man was a bad man. Because most of them were even eager and very, very willing to invite him to come. If he was inviting them, they will also come. There was something I left out too. You remember the national livestock. Majority of the crisis in northern Nigeria was about farmer settlement, especially in the north central zone. Who brought out the national livestock transformation scheme? It was President Buhari. Some will say he doesn't like anybody, he prefers to protect the Fulani. He said no, we must find something to put security so that farmers can go to farm, so that the herders can also freely rear their cows. For him, he's both a farmer and a cattle rearer. So transformation came, and I'm very happy that his successor, his very, very, very good friend, President Tinubu, has taken up the challenge to create even federal ministry, the Ministry for Livestock Development, to curb the insecurity in the north, especially relating to farmers' herdsmen. So for him, anytime he was invited outside, he will go there. You expect a man of dignity. You expect that your president is going as a man of dignity. You expect that your president projecting you as a man of honor. And your president is going there in selfless capacity. Selfless because there was nothing that he will ever be doing and thinking of himself. He was always thinking of his country. So when people talk about patriotism, I don't think anybody can doubt that in the late President Muhammad Buhari. So once again, I will always say that if we leave us on this television, first, let me tell you one secret too about his patriotism. Each time he travels with President Buhari, he will make sure that in that country he must watch NTA and he must read Nigerian newspapers. Whatever he will do, no matter how tight, he must watch NTA. His favorite is NTA. He must watch NTA news. There was a time we traveled and they were doing elections in the state. He was the one who gave us the result. We slept off till the next day. When we came back in the morning, he said, well, he asked us, what was the result of the election, the primaries that were going yesterday? We said, we slept off. He said, you look at you. He said, this was the result. I said, how did you watch that? He said, I was on NTA till daybreak. On NTA till daybreak. On NTA till daybreak. So you will make sure you will read Nigerian newspapers. Well, he likes Femi Adesina is here. If it is newspapers that President Buhari will read newspapers from one column to the other. And I like the way he was reading newspapers. Not the one that they mark for him and then you will just go where they put asterisks. No, he will open the paper from page to page, from every line to every line. That is to tell you that a president, even in his busy schedule, is concerned about Nigeria, is concerned about the plight of his citizens.
Senator Olalong, thank you so very much. I guess we'll pause here to take a break so that when we return, we can take messages that are pouring in and then get back to Mr. Adesina. Please stay with us.
Major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
The business environment, to be honest with you, has been extremely hard on most Nigerian women's businesses, and of course harsh for a number of reasons. There is no way you would increase or move subsidy and increase the price of fuel that it doesn't have the counter effect. It has been very challenging for so many women. I know that a lot of them have cried in one way or the other to us to find ways of intervening. But that is not to say that it is all doom and gloom. We will still have a few percentage of women that are thriving in this economy, but we hope that we'll be able to get a larger percentage. One of the things I've seen with even our local purchases now is that people are buying more made in Nigerian options of food, of clothing, and so on and so forth than the imported. So that again is helping some of our industries thrive. Surprisingly, the telecommunications is still doing well, and the reason is very simple. A lot of people are going for online options of skills in terms of training, communications, even remote working. And so you will see that people that provide services around those areas also thrive. But I think at the end of the day, it's about partnerships, collaboration, and influencing power from especially the private sector and even the public sector. But we really need the public sector to drive a number of things, especially policies, because the public sector has the national spread above even whatever we can do in our own small way. What has happened over the years is that different, even the government, for example, is being pulled from different angles by all these stakeholders. We need to harness ourselves to have strategic focus areas, and we should all be moving in the same direction, not using a competitive approach, but a collaborative approach. Secondly, in collaboration, we need to move with large clusters of decision makers. Instead of, the process of reaching out to individuals is painstakingly long and it takes time. And so we need to engage these stakeholders on a larger platform. I think it's very important to identify where you can get help in your own little way. And one of the things I've realized is that when you operate in silo, it is difficult for you to lift yourself out of the situation. Identify ways you can do what you are doing in a simpler way. And if what you are doing is no more profitable, why not find out what can you do in the meantime that will help you? You need to think outside the box and then connect. What you can do is also identify people and become a cluster to provide a service that ordinarily you cannot do alone.
All right, we thank you for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria, where we've been discussing the Federal Executive Council special session in honor of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari just yesterday. And now we have messages pouring in. I have quite a number myself. Let's begin with this one from architect Godwin James from Akwa Ibom State. He says, "It is quite pertinent that we miss such a leader, simple human being, transparent and sincere president. May his soul rest in peace. Amen," he says. And from Yusuf, "PMB was a good man. Let me say his ways are shaping my thinking, especially his simplicity, honesty, principles, and efforts to serve the people. This will remain with me to death," he says. And then late Muhammadu Buhari stood out as a leader in various aspects. Notably, he remained incorruptible by power and maintained a remarkable simplicity throughout his service to the nation. That's from Chike in Warri Delta State. And finally from me, "Good morning, Nigeria. I am Favor from Anambra State. Buhari was a good and great man. His legacy remains. May his soul rest in peace. Amen."
All right, some more messages that we have. We have from Muhammad Awal Musa Afamai. It says, "May Allah grant PMB the highest peak of paradise and forgive his sins. My sincere condolence to Nigeria." May Almighty Allah grant him paradise. President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari, was a gentleman, well-disciplined man who has zero tolerance for corruption. He has left a legacy and good part in the country. May Allah accept his soul. That's coming from Nora Maska in Lagos. Another one says, "The man Buhari is an incorruptible leader who tried hard to reposition things in the best way he can. He died a fulfilled person. Today, we're remembering the good things he did. May his soul rest in peace." Another message here from Kwara State from Abdulganiyu Suleiman says, "Late former President Muhammadu Buhari was a man of integrity, a symbol for the politicians to emulate. He was a man of simplicity. He did so many good things in this country. He lived a worthy life. Many young Nigerians benefited from the Empower program, conditional cash transfer, traders money, etc." Another one says, "Political leadership is about servant leadership towards upholding the social contract. Leaders in various levels of responsibility should emulate late Buhari's style of leadership to build an enduring Nigerian state." And that's from Ben Ozo.
All right, let's get to Mr. Adeshino again. Now, communication was one challenging aspect of the Buhari presidency, for many. And I'm going to ask, with the benefit of hindsight, what might you or the administration have done differently, in bridging the gap between intentions and public perception?
Thank you. I doubt if anything could have been done differently. because President Buhari was very reticent. He would not speak. And he had his issues with the media. The carryover was still there. One day he told me, you know, I've parted ways with the media long ago, so you go and sort it out. That was his attitude. When you responded to things in the media, he will love it. There was a day I was on a television program on a Sunday, and he was watching. I didn't know. On Monday morning, he saw me. He said, I saw you last night. I saw how fast your brain was working. And he said, thank you. Thank you for defending me all the time. When you did the work for him, he appreciated it. But he himself, no. He said he had parted ways with the media, and you see that he will rarely talk to the media. He would prefer to talk to us, and we talk to the media. So you have to make the best of it. It was his style. You need to understand the style of your boss. And as a spokesman, you need to understand that you are not speaking for yourself, you are speaking for your boss. So if your boss will not speak, like Donald Trump will tweet and do all that, that's his downsides. But President Buhari is on the other side. You now need to know what his mind is. When there's a major thing, I'll go and sit with him. This have happened. What is your thinking? So when he speaks with me, I then can speak to the country. So that was the kind of person he was. He could not have done it better with the media, because the media stung him long ago. The 2.8 billion naira thing that they alleged was missing under him as Minister for Petroleum. It didn't happen. But for a man who valued integrity and who valued reputation, that thing lived with him forever. So I doubt if we could have done it better than we did.
Many thanks, Femi Adesina. Let's get Senator along now to begin to round up this conversation. You've spoken, so well about your relationship with the former president. I'd like you to speak to us about some of the projects, or if you like, the federal presence that the people of Plateau felt as at the time he was president. And also, in addition to that, tell us, what does the statement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that the late president was the people's general, in your own terms, what does that mean?
Thank you very much. When you say somebody is the people's general, that means it's not only commander-in-chief of armed forces, it's commander-in-chief of opinions, public opinions, and then the followership, the leader of the party at that time. So for me, the legacies we got in Plateau, I can name them, several of them. The benefit of my close relationship, we got a federal polytechnic, we got a federal university, we got a federal medical center, we got orthopedic center, we had several security outfits in the state, established in the state. He also created opportunity for us to access so many World Bank projects. I will say that during my time, every aspect of World Bank project was in Plateau State. Talk about the RAM, talk about the RAM, talk about Acrisal, talk about Agile, talk about the potato value chain, talk about potato value chain. And two, he ensured that governors were very, very careful about payment of salaries. Now let me tell you, when we came back in 2019, payment of salaries was a condition for recontesting elections in Nigeria. Ask the chairman of the party at that time. President Buhari had given the last lap, I think the last lap of the of the support, the support, the bailout. But before they paid, he realized that, and within 2 days, he called MFLA. He said, stop that payment, stop that payment. And he stopped. He said, wait for my new directive. The next day, we were there to ensure that everything was paid. They said, President said, no, the payment of the last this thing is dependent on payment of salaries. And so they called all the unions were invited. For you to get your payment, your union leader from your NLC chairman will come and say whether you paid salaries or not. You have been paying salaries or not. That one aspect that I was very happy with it. Very few of us made up the line because many governors went back, no money. Because he said if they don't pay, take the whole money, go back and pay. So that is telling you his concern also about workers. He was very, very concerned about workers. So that day, when he said that, he said, look, come and sign. And I saw wonders. We didn't know that all the NLC presidents were there inside the room. They called my own. They said, Plateau. They said, yes. Come and see your money. I came. How much? 10 billion. Where is your NLC chairman? They said, yes. I said, can he sign? He said, yes, he can sign. He said, why? He said, he has paid all our salaries. But today, part of it is that if we follow the legacy of Buhari, we will not have outstanding salaries. If we follow the legacies of Buhari, I don't want to come and start talking about what President Buhari, what President Tinubu has done as the DG of his campaign. I don't want to talk about the incentives, talk about everything. So I will say that it's the same thing, the legacies by his friend he's doing. And he has taken beyond that. Because when we left, the allocations that are going into the states are now almost threefold. So we expect that if people are committed at the subnationals to also follow the threats of Mr. President, to ensure that these things are paid. Salaries are paid as and when due. Projects are in every state like he was monitoring. Because when we get back to elections, let it be the yardstick, like President Buhari did. Let it be the yardstick for contesting election. Otherwise, we'll continue to have poverty in different aspects, and then we blame the leader. We should not be blaming President Buhari, and we should not be blaming President Tinubu, because we know what they have done. So if they have done, and with this kind of scheme, let Nigerians also show some kind of resistance when people are not doing the same, when they are not carrying out these same regulations or orders. So this is one important thing, legacy that Buhari left. So when you come back to the issue of corruption, like I said, because of the bailout scheme, all of us concentrated and everybody knew that if you mess up, President Buhari will jail you. From that we saw people, even former governors were jailed. If former governors were jailed, how can you say that he will spare anybody? So everybody ensure that you follow. We may not follow, may not have followed exactly what he was doing because it is different. It will be difficult, even if you ask me today, for many of us to put ourselves in the shoes of the late president. It will be difficult in terms of his character, in terms of his honesty, in terms of his patriotism to Nigeria.
Along with thank you very much for your contribution so far. Let's get back here in the studio and to Barrister Abdurrahman. Abdurrahim. Why do I keep mixing this up? All right, Abdurrahim Shitu. Now, looking back as one who worked with him closely, would you say that the late President Buhari empowered his cabinet members to speak truth to power, or was it just a top-down approach?
Well, it was never a top-down issue. The problem is with the individuals concerned. President Buhari didn't prevent anybody from speaking out. He gave everybody, an easy ride, as it were.
I mean, even when the then Minister of Women Affairs pledged open loyalty to an opponent, he kept her in the cabinet. She did that. She saw out that term.
Well, Buhari has been Buhari. Interestingly, he doesn't talk much. You know, he's a very taciturn. He doesn't, even if he's annoyed with you, you won't know, because he won't show it. And he doesn't talk down on anybody. He respects everybody, you know. But individuals have their own idiosyncrasies, you know, as to what they will do. But our late president is one person that I believe he meant very well. By nature, he doesn't shout. He's not violent. He was never violent. He doesn't show that he's Oga, as it were. You know, he just... Interestingly, no matter how close you are to him, if he doesn't see you in 3 months, he won't ask of you. Whenever you eventually see, he won't raise eyebrow as to why you have not seen him since. I mean, he's that kind of person. Very easygoing. And he was just a leader. And he expected, you know, that everybody would live up to their, you know, responsibilities and so on. And that was it. I never saw him at any time be annoyed with anybody. He's that kind of person.
All right. So as we round off, I would like, you know, to hear your message to current leaders. What they should learn.
I think before we round up, let's also give honor to whom honor is due. We must commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the way and manner he conducted himself in organizing a befitting national burial for late Muhammadu Buhari, and for organizing a series of events which culminated in yesterday's special session. It's definitely not just commendable, but I think he has provided a template for the way and manner we should respect our former leaders in this country. And I must also say, you know, very sincerely that some of the things President Tinubu said about Buhari yesterday, you know, are things that we should definitely take to our hearts. That he did not only describe him as a selfless person, but is somebody who is not, who has not been changed by power, who had remained himself, and who does not dance to the drummings of applause, but is somebody who determines a moral high ground to stand on at all times, no matter what happened. I think President Tinubu should be commended for what he did, the way he conducted the whole process. And, you know, an Islamic burial is very difficult to fit into the typical state burial kind of template that we know, you know. But be that as it may, he made sure that everything that needed to be done, from the military honors down to official respect and responsibilities to a departed leader, were done. And that we must commend the president for. And we should also, you know, take away from everything that was said yesterday that he was morally upright. I hope and I pray that those who were putting their mouth on the microphone to say Buhari was morally upright should accept also that it is a virtue to be morally upright and to be morally upright themselves. Last and final. Allahumma arham Muhammad Buhari, Allahumma anfir Muhammad Buhari. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his shortcomings, grant him al-Jannah Firdausi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also touch the hearts of all our leaders in this country to understand that we need morality, we need honesty, we need to work together as a people. The unity that was displayed in Daura should not be left in Daura. Everybody was in Daura from all parts of the country. That was what Muhammadu Buhari lived for. That was what
All
he
right.
fought for in wars,
All right.
and that's what we should have as his lasting legacy.
Thank you very much, Ahmed Sajo. Let me quickly get to Femi Adesina. Now, in few words, being someone who worked closely with the former president, assume that he was looking down on all that has happened since his passing on Sunday. What do you think he would have said?
Very delighted. He will be very satisfied. And on those who are saying negative things, he will say, head or tail, you never win with Nigerians. that's one thing he likes to say. But by and large, he will be quite delighted with what has been done to him by the government and by those who loved him.
Thank you very much, Femi Adesina. Senator Lalong, would like to hear your final words about the man, former President Muhammadu Buhari, in 30 seconds.
Final word about the man is no longer here, but with his virtues. His spirit will continue to live in us. Like we said, all the things that I mentioned about him, let us leaders also continue to copy and continue with them, so that one day, when we part the way he's going, we may also get, at least, if we can't get half a quarter of what the honor that President Buhari got. And so, again, to thank Mr. President. Like I said, I was privileged to be the DG of the campaign, the man who was in between them every time. Go through to President Buhari, I will go to President Tinubu, and I will see the connection that are there. So I will also say that whatever President Tinubu did it out of his heart. I know how pain. I was even watching his emotions. He was able to control his emotions. For him to even control his emotions at this time is something that is showing a threat in him. So may the soul of our former president continue to rest in peace. And may God also grant his family the comfort to bear this irreparable loss.
Many thanks, Senator Simon Bakola Long, representing Plateau South Senatorial District in the 10th Senate, and former Speaker and Governor of Plateau State and former Chairman of the Governors Forum. It was a pleasure to have you on the program. Many thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. We'd also like to appreciate Femi Adesina, former presidential aide to the former president. It was indeed a delight to have you on set with us. Thank you so much for your time. Would also want to thank Abdurrahim Adebayo Shitu, lawyer and politician, former Minister of Communications. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And of course, finally, the former foreigner, now in Nigerian, Ahmed Sajo, public relations specialist and a strategic thinker, former Commissioner for Information, Adamawa State. Many thanks for being our guest. It was indeed
Thank you
a
for accepting me back in Nigeria.
All right, so that's our package this Friday on Good Morning Nigeria. Me and Ray John, do your best and remain tuned to the NTA.
All right, and I am Victor. As well, thank God it's Friday. We'll see you on Monday.
Friday.
As a channel of communication is inherently harmless. It becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Do you want your school to be known for your achievements or activities? Then look no further. At NTA Knowledge on Star Times Channel 359, we will showcase your school's graduation, excursion, inter-house sports, community service, school's registration of new intakes, and more. For enquiries and advert placement, please dial 0805-906-0657, 0803-553-5720, 0803-337-4201. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Cultural products, which have helped to sustain virtually every economy in the world, can be divided into cash crops, produced primarily for export, and food crops, produced for local consumption and for sale in the market when there is surplus. Some of the principal cash crops include oil palm, rubber, walnuts, and cocoa. Cocoa is believed to have originated in the hot, humid region near the source of the river Amazon in South America. Cocoa is a beverage crop used in the preparation of many fruit drinks. The fruit is called cocoa pod.
When you are planting the cocoa through seeds, it has to pass through the nursery stage. You can have the nursery beds, and you can also have the polythene bags. You harvest it when it is well ripe. That is, it's not overripe, it's not underripe. You harvest it when it's, and it doesn't have dormancy period. And so, as soon as you harvest and extract the seeds, it goes into the nursery.
Cocoa is a tropical lowland crop. It grows best where the annual rainfall is at least 1,140 millimeters and where the mean temperature never falls below 17 degrees Celsius. It cannot grow where there is a long dry season. Cocoa needs shade to reduce moisture evaporation, especially in the early stages of establishment in the field. It needs a deep, fertile and well-aerated loamy soil and friable.
The soil must be equally be able to retain moisture during dry season.
The soils that favor cocoa mostly are rich, dark, loamy soil, which we have in the states, and alluvial soil, called alluvial soil, like we have in Ibiano, we have in the local government area, we have in Sreta, we have in Ikono, some parts. We also have in Obodokara, and these soils also are favorable to other tree crops, not only cocoa, oil palm, coconut, even sometimes rubber and cashew. So that's why we have advantage in growing cocoa, and because of the good soil we have and the good climatic conditions.
The cocoa plant, when mature, reaches a height of 7.5 to 10 meters. It has a straight main trunk. Its leaves are dark green when they are mature and flowers profusely on clusters. The fruits, called pods, are green or red and ripen to a yellow or orange color. A good pod contains, on the average, 20 to 40 seeds, which are called beans. There are different varieties of cocoa, and each has features and characteristics that distinguishes it from the other. Some of these varieties include Amelonado, Upper Amazon, Trinitario, Criollo, and hybrids. Of all these, hybrids, which are produced by cross-pollination between the different varieties, are the most preferred by farmers because they perform better than other varieties even when attacked by diseases such as black pod or swollen shoot. Cocoa trees can be grown from seeds or vegetatively by budding system and stem cutting. Vegetatively propagated seeds can be found in government farms or research stations. Seeds for planting are taken from ripe, healthy pods, which are broken by knocking them together or on the tree trunk. The seeds are planted usually between October and January in a nursery. They are planted in rich loamy soil containing organic matter used to fill up polythene bags. Seeds are sown in the polythene bags, one per bag. These are kept under the shade or interwoven palm leaves or tall forest trees to prevent direct heat by the sun. They are then watered twice daily, morning and evening.
For over 4 decades, Nigeria's economy has heavily depended on crude oil exports. The oil boom of the 1970s led Nigeria to neglect its agricultural and light manufacturing industries. In 2002, oil and gas export account for more than 98% of export earnings and about 83% of government revenue.
Cocoa seedlings are transplanted to the field as from April during the rainy season, that is, 5 to 6 months after planting in the nursery. The seedlings are carefully removed from the polythene bags with a ball of earth and are placed in the hole, which is about 45 centimeters deep. The hole is covered gently and firmly round the seedling. Some crops like banana, plantain, cocoyam are allowed to grow alongside cocoa seedlings to provide a temporary shade.
It can be done this way. You have your secondary bush fallow. You just get the lines of which you want to plant. You trace the lines, cut around, so the adjacent bush becomes a shade for the young seedlings until they are fully established. There are also some plants that can be used to provide a shade. Plantain. You see, it's also an economic crop. Basically, it is plantain that is recommended so that they can grow under plantain shades. And before you know it, they have grown and formed canopy.
In order to achieve maximum yield, adequate weeding must be maintained, especially within the first 4 years of its growth in the field. Weeding also helps to control black part disease by reducing the humidity within the plantation. Mulching is also done in the field to ensure maximum yield, as it helps to reduce the rate of water evaporation from the soil, prevents weeds and add nutrients to the soil, and acts as an anti-erosion measure during rains. Cocoa, like any other crop, is susceptible to diseases. One major disease of cocoa is black part disease. It is caused by a fungus and can be eliminated by removing and destroying infected pods, as well as spraying with fungicides. Another disease of cocoa is swollen shoot disease. It is caused by a virus which is transmitted by mealybugs. It can be controlled by destroying and burning infected plants.
Some form of insect attack and disease like black pod mostly is a common disease of cocoa, and that declines cocoa production in the state. So the state government assisted them by giving them agrochemicals like Vidomil, Gold, 500 WP, vegetable powder, and Atara is an insecticide that we use for cocoa, very effective. And we also gave the NASA sprayers and rain boots, so that coveralls, so that they can also use to enter into their farm.
One of the most challenges that we have is road network. You know, where you are planting this cocoa is in the swamp mostly, and most of these areas the roads are not being opened as much.
Cocoa trees begin to bear pods regularly 3 to 5 years after being transplanted to the field. Most pods are produced on the main stems and the higher branches. They become ripe 5 to 6 months after the flowers are pollinated and fertilized. Most of the pods are harvested between August and January. Each pod contains 20 to 40 seeds or beans.
This one is not good for planting, and it's not good, it didn't have much weight for drying. If this one dry, one bag, it can be full bag, it won't be up to 65 kg because it's not having other weight again. So it's not good to ride like this. This one is very, very okay. When cocoa started to ripe, you can flood it, and the cocoa will be having a very good weight.
When you harvest your cocoa that overripe, the weight of the seed will be very low, and that also will decline the income you get. But when you harvest it, like the one I'm holding, which is very good, the weight of the cocoa beans will be very high, and that will bring income to the farmers. And that also help a lot of youth now to go into that cocoa production.
Cocoa farming and production are big global businesses that require huge financial commitment and long-term investment, which sometimes discourage farmers who may want to invest in it. Having identified this, the Akwa Ibom State government has invested massively in cocoa cultivation and production in government and privately owned farms, and has equally encouraged cocoa farmers in some ways, such as training, provision of farming kits, procurement and distribution of fertilizer at subsidized cost, provision of non-interest loans and grants, among others.
The government of Akwa Ibom State has done a lot in order to, subsidize so many things for farmers. Given interest-free loans to over 2,000 vegetable farmers, over 2,000 cassava farmers, and over 1,500 maize farmers. In agriculture, of course, we know it is the input that creates the output. So we don't joke, the government does not joke with supporting the farmers, because there are some farmers who may be willing to cultivate more hectares, but they don't have the money, they don't have the financial assistance to do so. And in Akwa Ibom State, we don't joke with that. Even the tractors that the state government bought for farmers through this ministry. We are sending the tractor operators to clear the land for farmers and so on. So we don't joke with this because we know when we support them either financially or in terms of inputs, that will really boost agri production in the state.
The state government has done a lot to cocoa farmers because before then, most of our cocoa farms, plantation had been abandoned by farmers. So when he came on board, he assisted farmers. We went into the field, reactivated most of the plantations and bring them to a standard. We have distributed over 500,000 of seedlings to farmers. We have assisted farmers with farm inputs. We have distributed fertilizers free of charge, agrochemical free of charge. We recorded 800 to 900 kilograms. And we are hoping by the end of 2020, we are going to have 1 metric tons per hectare.
That the government of Akwa Ibom State is producing seedlings for farmers at a yearly basis, and this also increase our productivity. So it has been so good for the past few years. As they are talking of hardship, is not much here in Ene, because every household has one cocoa or the other.
Another area that the state government has equally boosted the cultivation of and production of cocoa for maximum output is the establishment of community cocoa plantation scheme in all the 31 local government areas of the state, where improved cocoa varieties that are planted in state government's own cocoa nurseries are given free to farmers for transplanting in the fields.
Recently, we flagged up the distribution of over 500,000 seedlings of cocoa that we gave to cocoa farmers free of charge. The government is also encouraging our farmers to cultivate this across the local government areas, and we provide the seeds for them.
Cocoa is one of the produce that produce money for our local people, our farmers. We make our income, our living from cocoa.
For over 4 decades, Nigeria's economy has heavily depended on crude oil exports. The oil boom of the 1970s led Nigeria to neglect its agricultural and light manufacturing industries. In 2002, oil and gas export account for more than 98% of export earnings and about 83% of government revenue.
There is no doubt that fermentation and drying of cocoa beans are essential to making the product obtain the desired quality and chocolate flavor. In this regard, the state government has established a cocoa fermentation and drying plant at an Anamon in a local government area to respond to the need of making fermented and dry cocoa beans produced in the country meet international standards.
Akwa Ibom State is blessed with the best quality of cocoa in this country. The government has commissioned a cocoa fermentation and drying center so that these cocoa farmers, when they harvest, they can go ferment their cocoa and also dry them. And there is also a warehouse so that even if they don't want to sell their cocoa immediately, they can of course keep in the warehouse. And the people there, they've also trained some of the youths in using these cocoa pods to produce soap and so on.
The state government wants our farmers to produce premium cocoa beans. That is why he has established a fermentation plant and drying plant at Itumbonuso. For the quality of cocoa beans, I think Akwa Ibom State has the best, #1 in the whole country, because the fermentation plant that His Excellency has established in the state gives out the best cocoa beans that meet up the international market.
If you don't follow the process, you miss the point. Without having a drying center, without having a place to fumigate your cocoa and dry, you miss the point. Because if you put it on the asphalt, on the tar road, sand will come in, and thereby becoming bad for the cocoa. It will hinder the price of the cocoa, and people that want to buy will reduce the cost of the cocoa, and that is not good for the cocoa manufacturers. They don't like that. So His Excellency has put up a warehouse for us, a drying center, that immediately you cultivate your cocoa up to the finished product, they will be able to package the cocoa, dry it, fumigate it, and then back it. And that helps us a lot. And for you to export your product, you must back it and must have a label, must have the destination. If somebody tells the flavor of your cocoa, the person must look at that flavor and know where the cocoa is coming from. So it's a good fit that His Excellency the Governor decided to give us a drying center so that we can be able to back our own.
After extracting the seed, it will have to be fermented. This is another important area. In fact, the way you ferment it can either make or mar the exercise. For example, the flavor is developed during fermentation. Most of the assessed qualities will be developed during fermentation, whether it has fermented well or not. The drying further adds to the quality of the beans, because when it is properly dried, the cocoa nibs, the cotyledon, is the most valued part of these cocoa beans, and drying will determine whether the quality in the international market, even in the domestic market, will be acceptable or not. When it is properly dried, it is now packed in the jute bags, and then you store it in the warehouse. Store it in the manner. The drying and the storage are very critical factors in the final quality of the cocoa beans.
Cocoa farming and production are major employers of labor, as they create employment to different categories of people.
Yeah, of course. When we were having this Fadama guys that the World Bank collaborated with the federal government and the state government, we trained a number of youths in Akwa Ibom State, and after the training, the financial assistance that the World Bank gave was not even enough. So the state governor gave each of the youths 300,000 naira to add to what was given to them in order to expand their business.
It has helped to take off unemployment, at least within this locality. In this town, we have over 25 workers here that are earning some money from us. It has taken them off some social problems that they would have run into.
This has involved a lot of youth. The youth that has been so restive in their action are now involved in cocoa production. They are now inside the farm. You don't see them again. He has the exemption of giving them employment. He prevents them all from troublemaking, restiveness. They are now making money from the farm, and they say they need to be in the farm.
Cocoa is a major foreign earner to the country, as the bulk of cocoa production is exported. The main products of cocoa beans include cocoa drink, chocolate candies. Cocoa drink contains important quantities of fat, carbohydrate, protein, and other nutrients.
So when you are taking the cocoa beans, you know that you cannot have cancer from it. We have been produced into various products. We have the cocoa powder, so you have the chocolate, we have the cocoa butter. So as an antioxidant, it is consumed and found to be healthy to the body.
For over 4 decades, Nigeria's economy has heavily depended on crude oil exports. The oil boom of the 1970s led Nigeria to neglect its agricultural and light manufacturing industries. In 2002, oil and gas export account for more than 98% of export earnings and about 83% of government revenue.
Cocoa beans is also used in the production of local gin, and the pod is a basic ingredient in the production of soap.
Cocoa is one of the most important products that any nation should have. You can use it for several things.
Here in Akwa Ibom State, there is a farm called Fika Farms. They are into the production of wine from cocoa. The cocoa pod is used as livestock feed and manure. It is a source of theobromine, and the shell, fat and vitamin D are also caught in cocoa plant.
You see this empty cocoa pot?
Yes.
It is also money. You use this one and make cocoa soup. It's very, very good for cocoa soup. And if you cannot use it to make cocoa soup, it's also very, very good for fertilizer. After this thing has been germinated, you pack it in your cocoa stand like this. You pack it all the empty pot and you pack it like this, and that thing is germinate and become a very rich in fertilizer. After breaking the cocoa, we put it on top of these things. We put basin under. Then the water will be ringage. When the water of cocoa ringage, we use this water and cook this hot drink. We use cocoa water and cook this hot drink. And this is original cocoa drink. This is original cocoa hot drink, and it's very, very tasty, very rich in vitamins. This is cocoa drink, original. Pure cocoa. It is cocoa for you.
Cocoa farming and production are good investments. Be part of it and reap bountifully.